The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
David Bailey or Rueben Bain Jr., who should be the pick at number 2 for the Jets? We'll talk with Joe Blewett about that, and he will show you the film on both prospects. Which one makes more sense for Aaron Glenn's defense? That and more. It's the Jake Asman Show, live on a Tuesday. Let's hit it and get it started.
I let the organization down, and I let the players down, and that burns me. It really does. This season's on me, and we're going to work our ass off to get this shit exactly where it needs to be.
A new chapter for the Jets has started. Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji are tasked with shaping the future of this franchise. Will they be the ones to finally get it right? We will be here for every step of the journey on the Jake Asman Show, breaking down all the storylines, every game, and everything in between. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chats, baby. Cut the line. The Jake Asman Show starts right now.
Here we go, Jet fans. Welcome in, everybody. Hit the like button and make sure you are subscribed to the channel. As we sit here right now, live on a Tuesday, just after 4:30 Eastern, I'm 8 subscribers away from 44,000. So if you watch every day and you forgot to subscribe by now, just click the red subscribe button on the right-hand side, and boom, you will help us on our journey to 44,000 subs. Appreciate everyone who tunes in and day out. We're presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. The Jets have the number 2 pick and the number 16th pick in the NFL draft in the first round. And for more on that and for more on all things Jets, we say hello to our guy, Joe Blewett from Jets X Factor and, of course, the JetX mobile app. Joe, before we talk Jets, can we talk you being now a proud dad of 2? Congratulations on the awesome news that you and your wife gave birth to a daughter. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's been a busy few weeks trying to get the film out. Plus, not wanting to get a divorce with the wife and taking care of my 2 kids now. So, yeah, I'm a year older since we've last been on, and now I'm a father of 2. So it's been quite interesting.
Wait a second.
I missed the projectile shits across the room. That's what I really missed from little babies.
and you had a birthday as well. This is news to me.
Yeah.
Happy belated.
Here we are, 33 and a girl dad now. So a lot going on.
Girl dad, father of 2, and now 33. Hell yeah. A lot to talk about with the Jets. But Joe, congrats to you, and everyone send some love to Joe in the live chat or in the comments down below if you're not watching live. Let's jump right to the film, right? Because we've done Orville Reese already in these offseason prospect film reviews. Now we're going to do the other 2, I think, top contenders, at least at this point, for that number 2 pick. If the Jets, of course, can't get Mendoza, who's off the board at 1, to Vegas, it feels like, as of now, the consensus is either Orville Reese, Rueben Bain Jr., or David Bailey. Today, we're going to do Bailey and Bain. Bailey, of course, the edge rusher out of Texas Tech. So we'll start with him. But before we even bring up any of the plays, what were your expectations on Bailey going in? What did you know about him? And then when you put on the film, and you'll break it down for us, give us kind of your feel for the prospect.
Yeah, I didn't really have many expectations. I try to go into it pretty raw, just because I don't want other people's opinions to kind of sway mine before I watch it. I tend to watch it pretty raw and then go around and kind of see some reactions of people and what they think of players. And there's always going to be different, opinions of these guys. Like, oh, elite first step, not elite first step. So it doesn't really matter. There's no one consensus about these guys. But I like Bailey. I think he's the most ready pass rusher as of right now coming into the NFL. I do worry a little bit about the frame. Really skinny legs. Looks like he's a little bit maxed out on top. They list him out at 250. I think he's probably closer to 240 than 250. And then on top of that, with him, he has a wide variety of rush moves, but I don't think they're always technically refined. And there are some times at the collegiate level he's beating guys with just straight up athleticism. And I don't know if it's going to work consistently in the NFL. And then you kind of add on to it that he's explosive. but he's not the most bendy. So is he going to be able to beat tackles as cleanly as he needs to at the NFL level to really, rack up those sacks? But I think he's the most ready. I just have a little bit of difficult time with the fit with the Jets, especially if you have Will McDonald, not the same player. But Bailey's a little bit better in the run game, but I just don't feel like you can have them on the field at the same time. So if you were going to draft a Bailey, I would say you probably get rid of a Will McDonald. If it's a 4-3, if they're sticking to more 4-3 principles, I don't really think he fits at all. If they run a 3-4, he could be that outside linebacker. But with that being said, realistically, like there's so much diversity to schemes now that you're not really a 4-3, you're not really a 3-4. You mix it up a ton. So don't put too much stock into that. But nonetheless, I like him. I do not love him. It feels like a lot of people have the top 3 edge rushers as like the number 2 pick right now. I actually have 1 edge rusher. And then I have a few prospects and then 2 edge rushers. So I'm not going to, I don't know if I've already given that away if you've been listening to this show, but we'll see throughout the film review.
I like it. All right, let's get to it. And I want to remind people who missed our first show, end of this show, we raffle away a Garrett Wilson signed helmet. So if you want to win, make sure you gift the community a membership or send in a $10 super chat or higher to qualified $10 super chat. We'll get you 2 raffle tickets in both the Wilson helmet at the end of the stream and this week's weekly prizes, QB themed, Jet QB themed, name it signed jersey, Kenny O signed jersey, Testaverde signed jersey, a jersey that Joe Blewett, if you check behind Joe's left shoulder there, he's already won in a previous raffle. So that's on the table this Friday again, and then plus a signed Chad Pennington helmet. So we got the daily prize for the Garrett helmet at the end of the show, and then our weekly prizes on Friday. With that, let's get to the film, the All-22 breakdown with our guy, Joe Blewett. Joe, we all can see your screen. Take it away whenever you're ready.
Yeah, so we'll do like 8 or 9 plays of both these guys. We'll run through them, relatively fast just for time's sake, but give you a decent feel of like what they are as players, some of the strengths, not a ton of the weaknesses. I'll kind of recap some of the weaknesses as I talk about some of the strengths, but as we all know, 31 to the left side here in a 2-point stance. I actually felt like they should play him a little bit more in a 3 or 4 point stance. I think he's more explosive at a 3 or 4 point stance. Out of the 2-point stance, I don't think his first step is amazing. His second and third step are actually very, very good. I don't think his first step is elite. I think it's very good. The second and third step is very, very good for him. But we'll play it first, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. And something you have to factor into when you're watching some of these games, and I'm going to highlight this a little bit. I don't want to be overly negative, but some of the tackles they are getting sacks against, both him and Bane, they're a little bit booty. Not this tackle specifically, but watching some of these reviews and actually recording the reviews, I noticed like these tackles are not great. But you notice, some decent burst off the line, not the best burst in the world. Goes with the long arm here. So long arm attaches to the chest. It's obviously going to create some knockback on the tackle. And what I like about Bailey is he could be inaccurate with his moves, but he tends to stack them pretty well. So he creates some knockback with that long arm, which is then going to open up the right shoulder right here, which is going to make it easier to corner right here. He immediately transitions from a long arm into a rip, right? You want to rip that elbow up to disengage the elbow from like your, basically make it at a worse angle. So does a good job here. All right, coming off the ball, long arm, stabbing that outside shoulder, stacking immediately with the rip right here. The one thing you will notice, like even on this play, you could see his bend's not the best just in general. I'm not saying this is necessarily the best example of when you'd want to use bend, but you could see he's relatively straight up. So it does concern me a little bit at the NFL level is the frame and then some of the lack of ability to bend. He's a little bit tight to me. So it's a little bit of a concern with him. Maybe I'll share my entire screen, Jake, just so I don't have to keep hopping around like this. Let me just share the entire screen.
Whatever easier for you, Joe.
Yeah. I'll do the entire screen. It's easier like that. Okay, you should be able to see my entire screen now.
Yep. Go ahead. You can roll the next play.
Yeah. So now for Bailey, I don't love him in the run game. I do think he's better than Will McDonald in the run game. To me, he needs to hold his ground a little bit more consistently instead of like playing patty cake with guys, guessing a little bit. So NFL level, I do think he needs to hold his ground. You could see his legs, like they're not the biggest in the world. They are a little bit skinny for a 250-pound guy, air quote. But if you are going to use him in the run game, it needs to be, like explosively shooting gaps, backside, shooting gaps, front side. I don't really think you want him just just standing guys up on the edge, which is a little bit of an issue. You'll see this run here. They go opposite of where Bailey is, and there's a blitz off of the edge right here. So he's going to be designed to shoot through the speed gap. And this is a play where it's not even really anything technical. You're just going to see some of the explosion he has, and like, okay, this guy is freaky explosive in certain aspects, or just freaky athletic. And you can see it here with the chase down on the backside of what looks just like an outside or a lead outside zone. Shoots the gap, right? Does a good job of reducing versus the tackle who's trying to pick him up, which, by the way, just having a scheme and your job as a tackle is to reach Bailey, who's going to be knifing to the inside like that. Good luck. It's just not going to work. So explodes, reduces the shoulder, right? You want to ideally hide your chest away from the guy who's trying to engage you. Does a nice job of like clubbing the inside guard just to keep his feet free, kind of clear some space for himself, chases down the running back, explosive tackle for loss, right? Like you could see how quick he is, the burst he has. So definitely a good athlete in that sense, but not the most bendy athlete in the world. So keep moving on. Bull rush sack. This is something I'm going to recap in the negatives as well. So just kind of, if you are like a nerd for the draft stuff, like the film person, then just keep an eye on this, because I'm going to point out something that he doesn't do correctly all the time, but this one's a correct example of it. So I use the incorrect example later on. So bull rush sack, he's to the left side, which notice, Jake, there's no leg sleeves, there's no arm sleeve. There are people talk about that. Like, is he just a psychopath? Which he potentially is. He plays legitimately like 1.5 times speed. I said that in his report because he just plays so damn fast. But bull rush is 75 right here and does a really good job of setting it up. And I think that's something that he needs to do more consistently. And both him and Bane need to do more consistently, just set up their angles. So does a really good job there setting up his angle. Sells vertical, right? So rushes up the arc. Tackle is going to set outside, trying to match Bailey's speed to the outside, propels himself off of that right step. And then you can see how his line is directly through the tackle. Like he's aligned here. He's linear, right? Like he's working directly through the tackle, good leverage into the bull rush, hands inside, gets extension on the tackle, creates some knockback, right? Tackle's kind of panicking right now. He then removes the right arm, attacks the elbow, forklifts that, right? So now we have him removing that arm to free himself up, continues to run the feet, gets the sack on the quarterback. So I like the angles here. Vertical to inside, hard angle, that's really good. You have some reps of him not doing that, and I'll show you exactly what I mean in a little bit, but good job working into the chest, good hand usage secondarily there by removing the forearm off of him, and then obviously getting the sack on the quarterback. So I have two more strengths, then we have a couple of weaknesses. Speed. This one's just, you can notice. So this one comes, I guess, with just like a decent amount of watching. You're going to notice the first step here is not great, but it looks like the second, third, fourth step, he's almost shot out of a cannon. So I think that's a good example of first step's not elite, but that secondary explosion for him is elite for me. Where again, he can just beat guys with pure speed at the collegiate level. Now, NFL level, is he going to be able to win with just the athleticism at times? And I'm not saying he doesn't have pass rush moves, but sometimes it's not as clean as you want it to be, where he is mainly winning because of the athleticism. Now, this one, he does a good job, right? As he starts to corner here and starts to turn that, once he starts to turn that corner, he throws this chop down, because if this tackle is not shooting his hands now, the hands are going to be too late anyway. So it's like a precautionary chop down on those hands. And we're going to see him immediately go for chop and then transition that into rip, because he knows that this right arm is going to be the only thing that's going to prevent him from really, that's going to be the only thing from really preventing his forward progress. So throws the rip on it, is there immediately on this is actually our old buddy Dante Moore. So
this is the playoff game.
Yeah. So, and he balled out in this game, by the way, too. He was very, very effective.
Which I like that both him, by the way, and Bane both played at their best in the playoffs. Like big game performances, I value.
Yeah, which is one of the things that people knock with Reese a little bit. We did the Reese review already. I think Buffalo Jets fan put out a good stat. I think it was like 80. Reese rushed the passer as a D end on like actual pass sets. I think the number was like 86 reps. He had like 17 pressures and 4 sacks. So he had like a 20% pressure rate, which is actually very, very good. It's just limited in the way, in terms of him actually being able to do it. But he didn't really produce as much in those playoff games, whereas guys like Bailey and Bane did. So you have to take that into consideration as well. This is the last strength I have, or like strength play, and then I'll go over 3 quick weaknesses, and 2 of them are actually kind of good, or actually one of them is a good play, but I'm just going to show you kind of what I mean with him. Now, the ghost move again. So he has like double swipes, he has chops, he has rips, he has bull rush. He has a wide variety. Again, need to clean up some of the technical aspects. But this one's a really good one. Now, this tackle, you can notice like right away, he's standing straight up. The feeder definitely laboring, is not the best tackle in the world, but and he doesn't get the sack here, but it's just how quickly he gets there to Dante Moore. And he does it with that ghost move, right? So gets up the arc, right? Kind of flashes his chest to the offensive lineman, which makes the offensive lineman shoot, times it very well, dips under the hands of the tackle, and then gets immediately to the quarterback, right? So it's just really good timing from him here. Obviously, the explosion, the speed to corner, the hit, all of that, very good for one Mr. Bailey. So moving into the weaknesses. Now, if we were watching that bull rush rep before, if you are super tuned in, this is one where you can see the bull rush stall. And I think some of his bull rushes will stall at the NFL level because he's not the strongest guy in the world, just considering the weight. And he doesn't have a lot of power, at least in his legs. It seems like when he's setting the edge. So his bull rushes can stall. And this rep is an example of the technical aspects of why it can stall sometimes, and then it's also a strength thing. But that one rep where he bull rushed, he was a lot of his momentum was going up and through the tackle, where when he engages with the tackle this time, a lot of his momentum is still going up the arc here, and he kind of turns the upper half into the bull rush while the lower half is still going vertical. Now his hips are starting to flip into it. It's not as good of a bull rush. He engages. He has good leverage. He's linear. He gets extension. He creates some knockback, but then tackle's able to hold him up because he's not linear when he initially gets into it, and he's kind of still going up the arc a little bit, turns into it last second, but he's not as like hard angled as last time where it was straight angle. This one's a little bit more like rounding it off, and then it stalls a little bit. So want to see him work his bull rush a little bit more and get a little bit more consistent with the bull rush. Part of the run game too is he could be over aggressive and like shooting gaps, thinking he can make a play in a certain gap, whatever it may be. This one is an easy one. This one's a read option. So it's very, very evident of how bad this one is, where he could be undisciplined in the run game, and the quarterback's just going to be reading him, and the quarterback actually should hand this ball off, but he pulls it for whatever reason. But Bailey is so wrong that it doesn't even matter. So you see some examples of him in the run game where he's not the most disciplined player. And this doesn't even go for a big gainer or anything like that. But he clearly has that edge responsibility there. Dives inside on the running back instead of kind of, reading the exchange point. Does the quarterback have the ball? Does he not? But the quarterback pulling the ball here when, Bailey is a good 5 yards outside of him is a bad decision. The running back has a good gap here. Bailey bites on it, completely lost in the run game at times. And then again, he plays patty cake and stuff like that. So this is a play where he gets a forced fumble. But with that being said, you can see some of the inaccuracy in the hands at times with him. And this is one where so this works in college and people are going to think I'm crazy. Like, oh my God, you're showing a forced fumble for a reason why, as a weakness. And it's not a true, this is not a bad play from him. It's just showing one of the weaknesses in a kind of a fun way with him still getting the sack. But, rushes inside on the tackle, right? Stabs inside, expecting the hands. The hands aren't there. He shoots his hands too early. He goes to double chop that outside arm of the offensive lineman, completely misses. Offensive lineman hand lands high, and the backhand lands high too. Now Bailey is able to hold up with power through his bend here, and then use his long arms to swat that ball out. But most likely in the NFL, this is a rep that does not work. One, because an offensive lineman in the NFL is going to try to get that hand lower, and then what he's going to try to do, ideally, is wrench him, which it will be right hand into the chest, left hand into the lower of the back, and you're basically just going to stand a guy up like that. So it's a rep where good power through the bend, good length. Does he do this at the NFL level? So I flew through that, Jake, but there's your Bailey.
Love it. Great job by Joe Blewett breaking down David Bailey. Some comments or questions on Bailey I will read for Joe to respond to. And of course, appreciate everyone who's tuned in. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. And if you tuned in late, end of this show, Garrett Wilson signed helmet. So enter the raffle like our guy Derek, the Jet fan, did. He is in the Asmaniac raffle for one.
Give us something, anything. Yeah. We're a squirrel trying to get a nut.
Oh, yeah. We're going to give you something. We're going to give you a signed helmet by Garrett Wilson. A couple of the comments that I've seen, just to kind of sum up how members of the chat are feeling, is we've heard the McDonald comp by some, and I've heard some push back on it. I guess my question, just based off some of the things I've read, who had the better college tape, McDonald or Bailey? Like when you go back and watch Will, and we know what he's turned out to be thus far.
Yeah.
Like when you watched Will and you did the review on him after the Jets took him a few years ago, now you compare it to Bailey. Who had the better film?
I would say it's Bailey, just because he's a little bit more well-rounded, where he could play a little bit more in the run game. He's a little more aggressive in the run game. Now, with that being said, like Bailey was taken out in some key run situations, so they didn't have a ton of faith of him in him to play at the NFL level or at the collegiate level. Now, maybe that was just like reserving him for certain pass rush downs and things like that, but he did come off the field for some run downs. But with that being said, I do think he could be an okay run defender at the NFL level, just because of like want to and effort. I just don't think he's going to be able to stand guys up so much. But that's kind of my problem with Bailey, right? Like, and I'm not taking him because of Will McDonald, but I think you kind of have to get rid of Will McDonald if he is on the team. And Will McDonald still has a really high ceiling of being a good pass rusher. Like, I think that's one player I'm probably a little bit higher on than Jets fans are. I think there were some opportunities, or there were some situations last year where he actually won quickly, but the ball was so quickly out of the quarterback's hands because of how bad the linebackers were that he wasn't able to get there. So I still kind of want to ride it out with Will McDonald a little bit. And if you draft a Bailey, I think they're kind of going to have to be in the same role in the defense. So I personally do not love it. I think right now he's 7th on my big board for like the Jets to draft at number 1. So I could say personally, I'm a little bit, I don't love Bailey, and I see somebody saying that David Bailey was on Feldman's freak list. What am I talking about? Like, there's literally, you can see plenty of examples of him just not having great bend. I'm not saying he's not explosive. He's freaky explosive. He's just not the bendiest guy in the world. And you'll see that pretty much chalk throughout scouting reports that he's not the bendiest guy in the world. So that's all I was saying. He's a freak. But yeah, he's 7th on my big board. So at 2, that's probably the cutoff point for like, that's the player I'll be the most disappointed in, but I would kind of expect, or I would be like okay with, but yeah, I'm not the biggest fan at 2 for the Jets with Bailey.
James Eubanks wrote in, Bailey's an amazing prospect. I think my biggest 2 concerns at this moment are his run defense and the logjam at edge. So unless we get good value, all 3 is kind of bad roster management. Well, here's my question just based off of that, right? Because we talked about the Will McDonald and JJ Fitt just before. Is he a big enough liability against the run that you couldn't justify taking him at 2? Like, meaning, are you better off, and we'll get to Bane, are you better off taking a more well-rounded defensive line prospect than Bailey, who might be the best pure edge rusher, some will say, but maybe he's not great against the run? Like, how do you value that in terms of the number 2 pick in the draft, where you're trying to draft, obviously, a franchise-changing star player?
Yeah, it's part of it, right? And like people on Twitter will laugh, like, "Oh my God, people are talking about the run game for a DN." It's like, yeah, we're talking about the run game for a DN. Like it's an important piece. So I don't think it would completely move you off of Bailey as a prospect. But at 2, you're kind of right. It's like, you have really high upside as a pass rusher, but at best you can be an okay run defender. So he seems like he's going to be a little bit more of a specialist until he develops the run game, and then he could be okay there. But again, and I get he's freaky explosive, but I don't think he can't win with pure athleticism as much as he did at Texas Tech at the NFL level. So but let's be realistic though. This draft is not a normal draft. Like I don't love saying this because we have a ton of picks and stuff, but the draft kind of sucks a little bit. Like there are no top end, really blue chip, like can't miss players minus like maybe Downs. So it's not a good draft. So maybe he's elevated to that pick, but I'm just not picking a guy who's more of a specialist. And again, I don't think has the best bend and can't just win with athleticism at the next level. So I wouldn't take him personally, but I would understand it at the same time. In terms of the logjam, yeah, like that's the problem too, is JJ is not a 3-4 D end if they're trying to play a 3-4. So he's an outside linebacker. Will McDonald's definitely not a 3-4 end either. So what are you going to do with those guys? So I think if you do draft Bailey, you're going to have to get rid of Will McDonald, in my opinion. I just don't see how they both fit on the team at the same time, like multiple first round draft picks, not playing on rundowns and stuff. I don't personally see it with how much of a specialist he is.
I just wonder, what exactly the defensive philosophy is specifically going to be. Now, you bring up Downs. We haven't done the film review on him just yet. I just kind of want to jump ahead a little bit, go inside the mind of Joe Blewett here. Yeah. If they took Downs at 2, what's your reaction?
Dude, I have changed my big board literally 1,000 times because I can't stop thinking. I'm overthinking. I really am. Downs is my 4th player right now. He was my 2nd the other day. I'll be honest. I just moved him down to 4. Right now,
give us the top 4 then.
Yeah, so right now it's Reese at number 1. We did the film review last week, and I actually went on your buddy Dylan Terraman's show a couple of days ago when we did a whole breakdown of these guys, and I thought it was really good. So I speak a lot about Reese in there, and I think he has the highest upside as a pass rusher and in the run game, and he's freakishly strong, and you can do a lot of things with him. So he's 1. I have Tate at 2. I have Lemon at 3, and I have Downs at 4. And I get the defensive end stuff. I do. But let's live in a world for a second where Bain, Bailey, and Reese are not in this draft, right? Like they're not in this draft. Because I get everybody saying, oh, you need to take a D end. You need to take a D end. If Bain, Bailey, and Reese were in this draft, are you just going to force like Keldrick, Falk, or Mesidor because you have to take a D end? Or like at a certain point, you have to take into effect, like, yeah, this player is not he's not in a position that's as important like a safety or a linebacker, but he's so much of a better player than the DN that you take that player. Like, what is that point for fans, So for me, I like Downs that much more as a player that I'm taking him over a Bailey or a Bain at 2, Now I think that Downs is a better player than all of the guys in my top 3. But you have to factor in positional importance there, contracts, et cetera, et cetera. So I think he's the best player in the draft, but he's 4 on my big board.
Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. It's going to be an interesting debate because, again, if they have a grade where Downs is so much in front of the other edge guys, I wonder if they would actually do it at 2. I don't necessarily love it, but then you put on Caleb Downs highlights and you're like, all right, this guy might be, Kyle Hamilton or, that level of all-pro safety.
Yeah, no, he's really good. I wanted to see some more and we'll do his breakdown. I want to see more reps of him against like slot receivers. I want to see more single high reps of like him going sideline to sideline. But he's so elite mentally. He could be such a good player that in this draft, where I don't think the top is that great. Like if you can guarantee yourself grabbing a very, very, very good safety at number 2, I don't think it's the best allocation of resources, but he's that good. Like I'm not just forcing Bailey or Bain because they're a DN and they play the more important position, because I like Downs that much more than those guys. So again, he's not 2, he's not 3, he is 4 for me right now, and that will probably change again in a week because I cannot stop changing the big board. But I think Downs is that good. Plus this draft not being a good draft in general at the top.
Good point by Leon. You also have Brian Duker, who spent 6 seasons coming through the Ravens pipeline, coaching under Wink Weaver and with Mike McDonald and Jesse Minter. I mean, Duker, might have the same philosophy about the value of an elite safety if they think Downs is Kyle Hamilton-esque or maybe even better.
Yeah. And I see Hawk in here. Who I love Hawk, and they're different players, no doubt. Like Hawk, or not Hawk. Kyle Hamilton's more of like a box player, more big, more of like a tackler. Where Downs he actually plays in the box a ton as well. But he's a little bit more of like a coverage safety than a Kyle Hamilton would be. Like Kyle Hamilton, you expect to make more plays in the box, but he's not going to cover a slot receiver. Where Downs can do that. So. I would love to see the versatility that Downs adds to the Jets defense. And yeah, like you could take safety out of the game a little bit, but with him playing in the nickel or playing high, like he can make an impact, no doubt. So I wouldn't mind the pick just because I understand how bad the draft truly is. Now I wouldn't love it. He's my 4th player overall for the Jets, but I think it's something you have to consider, especially in this draft.
Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. Reminder, we're going to raffle away a Garrett Wilson signed helmet at the end of the show. As of now, there's only been one person that has entered the raffle during the show. That is Derek, the Jet fan. So, Derek, you're the leader in the clubhouse for this show, plus the people who entered during our first show today. With that said, Joe, it's time for Ruben Bane Jr., who nearly won a national championship at the U this past season. Let's break down the film on another guy that has been linked to the Jets a ton with that number 2 overall pick. Mm-hmm. Whenever you're ready, we can see the screen. Here we go.
Okay. Yeah. So left side of the screen here, I'm going to show let's see, I have 8 plays of Bane. So you'll see some of the pass rushing. You'll see some of the run defense as well for a Bane. Obviously rushing the right tackle here. I'll just play it and then we'll kind of talk about it a little bit after. You'll see some of the pure power he has. Now, it takes him 3 seconds to get there, which you're not always going to have at the NFL level. But you see some of the power, right? Rushing up the arc, long arm again, just like we saw with Bane or with Bailey quite a few times. His long arm, though, you could see that now the tackle's obviously going to like start to hop back into his anchor, and he starts to, but Bane quite literally lifts him off the ground here. Like you could just see how strong this dude is. So it's very fun to watch him. Lifts the tackle off the feet, right? Eventually peeks into the backfield and sees the quarterback. Now, if the quarterback had more depth in his drop, he can continue to rush around the arc right here and pick up the sack. But because the quarterback's at this level, like a little bit shallow for Bane to turn the arc and get there, he uses his core strength to grab the right shoulder, kind of pull himself through to flatten out, and then gets to the quarterback for the sack. So good technique, getting the hand in there. Very strong with his angle. Some of the nerdy stuff, just like working through the instep up and through the right arm, is a very strong spot to be in. So good job setting up the long arm. Good job getting the hand placement there, the power, eyes to see where the quarterback is, the shed right there, the arm over, and then the sack on the quarterback. So he definitely has some pass rush upside. Now, with Bane, you could be a little bit concerned that like, hey, he doesn't have enough speed, or like he has good speed and good explosion for his size, but it's not something at the NFL level it's necessarily going to worry tackles. So is he going to be able to convert his speed to power at the NFL level when he doesn't have a ton of speed? Like considering just because of how big he is. And then on top of that, he still needs to work on just like some pass rush moves and things like that. But nonetheless, he has some. So Bane sack flexibility, and with him, I don't think he's explosive for his size. I don't think he's overly like elitely explosive. I think where his athleticism comes for more is the power, and then the bend and flexibility he has for his size is ridiculous. But it's not true like elite explosion with a guy like Bane. So left side of your screen right here, rushing the left tackle. Get some solid get off there from Bane, picking up the sack. Right now we can see this tackle like. Okay, so this would be at the day. Like, okay, is this tackle the best tackle in the world? I'm going to say no. Just looking at how his feet are, they're laboring to get outside on Bane, but rushes times the leaping cross chop well, right? Perfect aiming point. You want to aim for that elbow because if you miss high, you hit the bicep. If you miss low, you hit the forearm. So it's a good spot to aim. So perfect hand placement there from Bane. Clubs the arm, and then you can see some of the move, like some of the flexibility in the movement he has. Like he's pretty low and bendy right there for a guy who's 6'3", 275. So good movement skills, corners, gets the sack on the quarterback. Tackle for loss. Let me see what this one is. So he's right side of the screen right here versus the tackle. I think they pull the guard here, but let me play it first and then we'll talk about it a little bit after. So initially he actually doesn't. So initially he gets caught in not the best spot in the world in terms of the hand placement here, but I love what he does after the fact. So when he initially engages with the tackle, his hands are a little bit high. They're outside, right? You don't necessarily want that. The tackle has his hands are inside of Bane's, which is not an ideal spot, but you see some of the natural strength take over. He's a good base though. His base is good. He gets extension. And what I love about this play is the hand usage, because he extends through the right arm, which is attached to the chest, right? And he removes the left and is going to control the elbow. But as he's doing that, he recognizes that the running back's getting wide or going wide with his track on this run. So then he transitions the right. He has extension with the right arm, right? He then transitions into the left because you obviously don't want to not hold your extension because then he closes ground on you. You're out of the play. So I really like the hand usage of stacking or extension with the right hand on the left elbow, transition to the left, open up the outside arm to the running back, make the tackle. Like that's a very good play by him. Now, initially not the best, but the hand usage right there to shed was elite from Bane. So he's definitely going to be good in the run game for you. Back to the pass game. He's wide right here against the left tackle. And I saw somebody asking a question in the chat, like flashing the chest, which, shit on the terms, it's fine. But what he's doing here, like, and I'm going to talk about flashing the chest in this one too. So he rushes up the arc And when you flash the chest like this, what I mean is you're stabbing inside and you're giving him your chest, right? So when he takes an aggressive step to the inside and he sees the chest, he's going to want to shoot. Whereas if you're closed off and your shoulders are still up the field, he's not going to buy that you're rushing to the inside or going to try to bull rush him or beat him to the inside. So that's what I mean by stabbing inside and flashing the chest, because now, the tackle's going to be, he's going to shoot at that point for the most part. So he shoots, leaping cross chop again. Actually it looks like he goes for the leaping cross chop, but it doesn't land. So, or he doesn't think it's going to land. So he goes with a double swipe, beats the tackle badly here. Like, this is not where you want to be as a tackle. Bane corners, gets the hit on the quarterback. Now, the ball is out quick, but it's a quick win for him. It's a good job with rushing, with his angles, the leaping double swipe, and then getting to the quarterback. Okay, let's see. I got 3 plays left on the strengths, 1 weakness, and then that's it for the review. So this one, he gets blocked by the tight end and the tackle, and he beats them in the exact same way, back to back, which is just kind of funny. And then gets the pressure again. Quarterback gets out of there, checks the ball down. It's whatever. It's not about like the stat. It's about the it's about the rush. So rushes the tackle or rushes the tight end. Does what's basically a rocker step for receivers or like a crossover. Short stride, right to left. Expect him to shoot the hands. Club, arm over. Squares up with the tackle. Same thing. Right to left. Right, left. Times the punch. Club. Arm over, same exact move, back to back, gets to the quarterback for the pressure. All right, quick win. Now he's on the left side. Now we have him against Indiana. This is the college football playoff game.
Championship game.
Yeah, you're right. Championship game, rushing the right tackle. And this one, you could see some of the explosion he has. Like, I'm not saying he's not explosive. So I'm sure there's people going to be like, oh my God, you're saying he's not explosive. He's explosive for his size, but he's not David Bailey explosive. Like, he's not going to beat guys with speed consistently at the NFL level. So this is a good example of some of the bursts, though. Some solid bursts there. Again, times that tackle sits a little bit inside on him. So leaping, double swipe again. It looks like the outside arm takes care of the outside, or the right arm of the tackle. Dips, right? Nice and low. Good bend for his size. Corners, Mendoza, ball is out. Can't help it, but a quick win for Bane. Last of the good, and this is just I think this is a pretty popular play that's been out on Twitter, but the flexibility here is ridiculous from Bane. So he gets comboed by the guard and the tackle here. But let's just watch some of the flexibility he has, and the ability to hold up in the run game and make that tackle is absurd. So this time he uses what's called like a corkscrew technique. So he's going to engage with one of the offensive linemen. He's going to drop this knee basically to the ground. He's going to try to get extension with that right arm and like dip this shoulder away from the tackle, because if the tackle gets hands on the chest, it's going to be bad news for Bailey or for Bane in terms of getting moved. So you want to really reduce yourself. So you turn that shoulder, drop the knee to the ground, get good extension with the right. But as he's doing that, obviously he's absorbing the contact from the tackle, and like, look at his body right here. Like, this is his leg. I don't know if people could do that without a 300-pound offensive lineman on him. So this is just absurd flexibility for him. Keeps that extension. Eyes are into the backfield. I would be in serious pain if I was ever in that spot, but elite athlete, extension, eyes still in the backfield, sees the running back, squirting through this gap, gets the left arm free, makes the tackle. But that flexibility is stupid. So his bend and flexibility are his really, really like plus traits athletically for me, plus the strength. It's not necessarily the explosion for Bane. And then I'll show you one with the pass rush plan where it's not always the best with him, because I don't want to just, basically glaze these guys and say how great they are and then not show at least a weakness or two or kind of talk about them. So number 4 right here on the edge. Okay, rushes the guard, and we can see that he gets held up in the pass. Now he actually ends up getting home. I think I don't know if it's a tackle for loss or if it's actually a sack or whatever it may be. But the plan here is not great, just in terms of like the feet. So blitz off this side, so he's going to rush the B gap or the guard. And when he rushes the B gap, the guard is sitting inside, and he tries to use like that rocker, that crossover, or even maybe tries to knife inside, but then kind of feels that he can't get there. The problem is when you're throwing that crossover, unless you're truly going to be able to threaten that A gap, he's not really going to fall for it, right? And the problem for him here is he's so far to the outside. With him stabbing outside and trying to knife the inside, is anybody really going to bite on that? Now, if he was if he was more squared up with the tackle and through those steps, then it probably would work. But you see the tackle just sits home on it all day because he's just in terms of the leverage or, his placement, he's not in the best spot. Throws a double swipe too early, misses. Guard engages, has good hand placement. Now, this is an area where hey, NFL level, you have an offensive lineman whose hands are both inside. He has a good base. Are you going to win on this rep in the NFL level? No. Now you're playing Texas A&M. Natural power is going to take over. He's going to fight to get to the inside and make the tackle or sack or half sack, whatever the hell it is. But we can see the plan here is not the best, right? He gets caught in not an ideal spot. NFL guard most likely shuts that down. So needs to work on the pass rush moves, angles of the pass rush, etc. But there's a lightning round of David Bailey and Bain. So
love it. If you guys have questions for Joe, now's the time. Super chats will cut the line. If it's $10 super chat, we'll get you 2 raffle tickets for our Garrett Wilson signed helmet raffle at the end of the show. Also want to remind people that this show that you watch every day on YouTube is available as a podcast, Spotify or Apple. Just search Jake Asman Show wherever you get your podcast, and you can listen to anything that you miss live on YouTube. Couple draft-related questions for you, Joe. This one is from our guy Lou B, who says, who's better, Arvell or Downs?
Better is Downs, but it's about positional value, right? And I'm sure you've talked about it with the contracts and stuff that these guys are allocated in terms of their draft position. Because I think a safety, I think he already makes somewhere in the mid range. I think it's 15th, 16th most in the NFL or something like that. You have the numbers on that, how much he actually makes as a safety. So
not in front of me, but it's running backs as well. If you take a running back at 2, or you take a safety at 2, they're already one of the higher paid guys at their position.
Exactly. So you have to consider the roster building part of it as well. And then obviously, I think a very, very good D end makes more of an impact than an elite safety, so you have to consider that as well, or same thing with the receiver. So I think Downs is the better player than Reese, but with Reese, when he rushes the passer, he's good at it. The dude has 35-inch arms. He's 20 years old. He's an absolute freak. And I've kind of said this with Reese, and obviously it's leaving a little bit to be not determined, but it's not. I'm not cement, or you can't cement this, but if Reese played another year at Ohio State, he gained 5 to 10 pounds, and he was rushing the passer strictly, I think he would be that true blue chip, can't miss D end, where he's 20 years old. He barely rushes the passer, so people don't consider him like that. But in terms of upside, he has the burst, he has the bend. In today's running game, if it's north and south running game, he won't make as much of an impact as a guy like Bain. But so much of today's league is scrambling quarterbacks and pin and pulls to the outside and screens to the outside and outside zone, that Reese can make a massive impact in the run game at the end as well. And he's an absolute freak. So I understand not loving the fact he didn't rush the passer, but his ceiling to me is immaculately higher than guys like Bain and like Bailey, because Bain can be good in the run game. I don't see him ever being a 10+ sack guy. And I think that's said for Bain. Bailey, I think he could be a good pass rusher, but more situationally, where Reese could be the best of both worlds if he hits his ceiling. So it's an interesting kind of discussion with these guys. But who's better? It's Downs. And Downs was just my second overall prospect the other day, and I moved him to 4 for the big board. But in terms of best at their position, he's the best player in the draft.
Who's your top 4 again?
It's Reese 1, Tate 2, Lemon 3, and Downs 4.
Okay, I just wanted to get that again on the record, because PBM writes in, if you needed to trade 33 and 16 to move up for Lemon, you're doing it. Are you doing it?
I don't think you have to trade 33 though, right? Because
where are you moving up to? If you're trying to get Lemon, and let's say you got to go,
that'd be 5 or 6 though. That much capital.
Well, if you're at 16 and you're going to throw, let's say you're the Jet, you want to get to 8 with the Saints. Let's use.
I think that's 44. I think that'd be 44 on the trade value chart or something right like that. So I don't think you need to trade 33 as well.
Let's say hypothetically you did. Is Lemon worth it in your mind?
Oh God, who's on the board though? Because is Tate on the board? Is Styles on the board? I would gun to my head right now, because for me there's 8. I think there's 8 to 10 prospects who I think are true first round talents in any draft. And then after that, you're talking a bunch of low first, second round guys in many drafts. So I think there's only like really 9 or 10 guys in this draft who I'm like truly excited about. So for me right now, the plan would be, and again, people always are attached to picks because whoever they mocked in their PFN mock draft simulator at 44 is of course going to work out. But to me, I'm drafting a Reese or a Bain or a Bailey at 2. For me, it's a Reese, and then I'm trading up for one of the receivers. Like that's where I'm sitting right now. But I think it takes 44, not 33. I wouldn't trade 33 for Lemon. I would trade 44. I think that's a little bit too much. And I think at that point, like, is Tate still available? Is Styles still available? You know, so. But I'm thinking about it because he's my 3rd overall guy. Like I love Lemon.
Love that. Nick M in the raffle for 2. Yeah, let's go, Nick. This is for you. Whoa.
The Jet fans getting a little crazy.
Let me tell you, Nick is a crazy Jet fan. Great dude as well.
Nice.
Longtime listener of the show. He says, Joe, you're on the clock. You've watched the film. Who are you drafting at 2 and who are you hoping is there at 16? So let's say no trades, Joe. Your dream scenario, 2 and 16 as we sit here in February is who?
Yeah, I'm gonna go. My problem is I like the DNs at 16 more than I like the receivers at 16. I don't think there's a receiver who's gonna fall to 16 who I truly want. Where like I would be okay with some of the DNs at 16s, but being realistic, like they're not gonna draft like that. So it's probably gonna be Reese at 2. And then like based on my board, like, I think Downs is gone. I think Tate's gone. Lemon's gone. Bailey's gone. Bain's gone. Maybe Styles, like that's the guy who I could start to see like, okay, maybe he could fall to that
Styles.
area.
You feeling good about the draft?
Oh yeah, no doubt. Now I would like to walk away with a receiver. But like I'll be honest, man. Like so after Styles is 7th on my board, and then I have Love, Vega, and past that, like then I actually have Concepcion as my number 3 receiver and Tyson as my 4. But nonetheless,
is that because of the injuries with Tyson, or you just like Concepcion better?
It's the injuries. I think if I got a clean bill of health from Tyson, he's above Concepcion, but I'm considering the injuries as well. Now, obviously, when you're at the combine next week, like that'll settle a lot of stuff with the injuries. I just think he's a little bit like he had like 43 or 44 contested catch rate, which is not really that great. When I think Cardinal Tate's was like 85%. So I don't think he had a great contested catch rate. The yak to me with Tyson was extremely overrated. Like he gets the ball in wide open space and runs fast. So he gets yak, but in terms of breaking tackles, rarely did it. I don't think the route nuance was there as much. And then my problem with the contested catches was at times he goes up with one hand too much. So I don't think there's much nuance there. Now, with that being said, with Tyson, being fair to him, he has the highest ceiling of all these guys, no doubt. I just don't think the nuance is there, and I'm afraid of the injuries. So he falls to 11th on my board, and Concepcion is 10th. While I'm worried about the drops with Concepcion, no doubt, but he's a very fun player to watch. But past Concepcion and Tyson at 10, 11, I think all of these guys, you can kind of, even with those guys, I think you can argue they're second round prospects in some drafts. I do. So I'm really only attached like the top 9 or 10 guys in this draft. But I guess Styles would be like the most realistic guy.
Yeah, well, it doesn't feel like this draft is as elite as other ones at the top. Like maybe there's good players in this draft, but it's not the best year to have like premium picks.
No, well, Garrett Wilson went 10? Was that 10 to us a couple of years ago? 10? Yeah, and like I think that Tate and Lemon are kind of in that. And again, do not consider what he is as a pro, because I'm not saying these guys are definitely Garrett Wilson, because you definitely take them at 2. But I think they're on that plane of prospects. Like Lemon and Tate are kind of on like the Drake London, Garrett Wilson type level prospects. And those guys went 8 and 10. And these guys might go, 3, 4, 5. So this draft is definitely a little bit watered down. I think at the top in general. So yeah, I don't love it. But with that being said, I think you still get some pretty damn good players, especially at 2. But at 16, I'm lukewarm on who's going to be there, because I think a lot of those guys are off the board and they end up with like a Mesidor who's 25 years old and has foot problems, or a Woods, or an Allen, or a McDonald. I don't really love who's going to be at 16. So if you could trade up 44 to land Lemon, dude, sign me up all day, like all day.
Sam with a super chat. Thanks for supporting the show, Sam. Who are the top 3 edge setting defensive ends? Which edge stats will not translate to the league?
Which edge stats? That's a question for Nani. I'm a terrible stats guy. It's hard to really know with the edge stats. I can't really give you that off the top of my head, Sam. Maybe like pressures, because if you can't get there at the collegiate level, but I'm guessing completely. Edge setting DNs, it's Right now, for me, it's Bane, it's Falk, and it's Reese as your edge setting DNs. And again, like the run game is not always just north and south. A lot of it is lateral. Like a lot of it's lateral. Watching the Jets play like the Dolphins of years past. So Reese can make a huge impact there as well. But yeah, for me, it's Bane and Falk relatively easily. A large gap, and then Reese because he's a little bit more of an unknown and still has to add weight.
Adam is too cool, says Downs at 2, and we have our real defensive captain with the cosmic IQ.
Yeah. I'm not opposed. I'm really not opposed to it. Like I wouldn't love it because it's a safety, but again, at what point's the cutoff where you need to force a DN or a receiver or an offensive lineman if that Downs prospect is so much better than these guys? Like
I think they would take him if their grade is like this guy's clearly the best player we have, the best non-quarterback.
Yeah, no, he's so close to just being that for me. Like, dude, just freaking take this guy. He's so effective and so smart, and we'll do that review and just how smart he is. He can eliminate so many of the problems with the not all of them because there's 11 guys on defense, but he can eliminate a lot of like the play action problems and all of that stuff. He wouldn't be a pick at 2 where I would scoff at it. Like I would be excited about the potential of him, but like, yeah, I'd rather land a Malik Neighbors or Marvin Harrison or Will Anderson, obviously. But I'm not going to force it just because it's a D end.
I think it was Ralphie, one of my great callers, who made this point. It really was an eye-opening point for me. Go back to that draft we were just talking about, 2022. You think the Ravens rather have Kayvon Thibodeau or Kyle Hamilton, right? Yeah. Thibodeau was the top 5 pick. You take the edge at 2 because that's what you got to do. Well, okay. If that guy's just a good player, but then Downs ends up being great, a 2-time All-Pro, what Hamilton's been, just using a recent example, then you're going to say, yeah, I mean, obviously you take the best player. That's why teams' philosophies are typically best player available. So that at least got me thinking. I prefer the edge still at this point, but again, I'm not as against it as I once was.
Yeah. And for me, like I could say if it was like Bailey or Bane at 2, just because I think they have somewhat limited ceilings. Again, Bane as a rusher and Bailey as a run defender. I don't think his rush game translates as well as maybe some other people do at the NFL level. So I wouldn't force it with those guys. But if Reese was out of this draft, Downs like yesterday would have been my pick at 2. I'm just factoring in the positional importance, so I'd have Tate and Lemon above Downs. But like I said, if these 3 guys didn't exist, are we then elevating Mesidor or Falk into that spot because you need to take a DN? So you have to find out like what the cutoff point is for that kind of talk.
Comments, questions, super chats. Cut the line. Amanda Madison writes, in rumor on the street is that all the cool kids are subscribed to the Jake Asman Show. Well, we hope that to be true. Right now, we're at 43,992 total subscribers. If you're out there watching the show who hasn't subscribed, I need 8 of you to click that subscribe button. Help us get to 44,000. Appreciate the best fans in sports for supporting a show about a team that has failed to make the playoffs for 15 years and counting year-round. You all deserve better. You guys are the best. We're presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Joe, your thoughts on the AFC Championship game winner for next year? The odds. The Jets got some good news. They might have the lowest Super Bowl odds, but they don't have the lowest odds on FanDuel to win the AFC next year. It's them and the Miami Dolphins with the latest updated odds following their release of Tyreek Hill and the other moves they've made. So your thoughts on this?
I don't know, man. I'm just so ready to like actually talk about winning football. Like this, it's just so depressing, right? That we're this far away and we kind of know what's most likely going to be happening next year. Just let all the young guys progress. Let's nail all the draft picks and then let's move on to the new head coach in 2027. That's kind of, it really is depressing, man. I cannot and I think a lot of Jets fans feel the same way, but like when you watch the playoffs, like you just realize how far you are away and it kind of hurts a little bit. So I just can't wait to 8 and 9. Like, I'm very excited.
Oh, one day, man. one freaking day. Joe Blewett's with us. If you have a prospect question, now's the time to get it read. We'll do a couple calls with Joe before we say goodbye. The man is a father of 2 now. He's got to go do baby related things, I'd imagine. I mean, good God. Ladies and gentlemen, on the Gustbuster Umbrella Hotline, first up today is a man who needs 0 introduction.
Don't look at my nose. It looks like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
What happened?
You back already?
See all that? Did you see the nose? It looks like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Except it needs to be black. It goes ding.
But his nose is red though, so why would it need to be black?
Beast, what happened to you? My son. Beast, my boy. What happened to you?
Don't worry about it. I've been through all sorts of crazier stuff that you
God
can.
cares about all his children, Beast.
Would you please talk normal or take a split? 7-10 split?
This is God.
Really? Press 1 to speak English, or press 2 to speak Spanish, or press 3 to speak French.
I'll speak God, because I am God.
Press 4 to speak Slovakian, please.
Press this button
press
to
5
make you
for
sound like a dog.
Interesting call there with the Beast.
Did you get a roadcaster? That is my question for you. Yes.
Did I do what, Joe Blewett?
Hold on, I got you, because I think I could do it back. I just don't know which one I want to use.
Attention, everyone. Joe Blewett is now a father of 2. Attention.
Small robot is a changing. See, I got 15 gig. I got the roadcaster. You will not have a robot named Joe Blewett. How dare you?
Yep, roadcaster. There we are. Congratulations on the new addition to your streaming services.
You know what? For $700, I think it was worth it.
Oh, so you got the big one. I think I got like the $300 or $400 one. It was a little bit smaller.
Tax write-off, baby. 4 inputs on it.
Yeah, I think I got the same one actually.
Hey, Steve writes in, do you want more subscribers? Stop the silly shit. I'll tell you what, Steve. I always want more subscribers. Hold on. Oh, why is Joe Blewett in the hole? What is happening here?
I'm gonna lose my job here. I can't afford that.
Steve. I want more subscribers, but I'm gonna do it my way. I'm gonna do it the way that got me to nearly 44. So, Steve, I don't want you as a subscriber anymore. I want you to head to the only place where you truly belong, the hole. Now look what you've done. No more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to pull you out of the chat and cast you down with the sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. You understand me? You catch my drift? Give him another 24 hours to think about it. Steve, come on now. Is he aware of what this show is when you're doing a jet show year round?
44. I'm chasing 11. So, I aspire to be, I'll pull out some nerd robot voices or whatever the chat is saying for another 33. I'll take it.
You got to insert some random curse words as well. Like, what the are you doing, you mother? Like that seems to play well.
I got a few. What's the one? Let's see if you notice this drop. I'm assuming you'll notice this drop, but
what the hell is even that?
Have you seen that video or have you not seen that video? I'll send it to you after.
I feel like I have, but I can't put it together.
Nope.
What the hell is even that?
No, never.
No, I definitely, but I recognize it. But why can't I put it together?
I'm going to get in trouble if I describe it, so I'm not going to describe it on the show, but I will after the show. I will send you the video because I'm going to get in trouble.
Oh, man. Unbelievable. Just for fun is having fun. He just gifted 5 channel memberships.
And here we go. Let's go.
GF Gonzalez, John Jetfan, AA2393, 12 Andrew Bach, and Scatato41 all receiving a membership from Just for Fun, who's in our Garrett Wilson helmet raffle at the end of today's stream with 5 raffle entries. GMCD with a $20 super chat. That's 5 raffle tickets for our man. Tate or Lemon at 2. Get the defense fixed with free agents. All right. I'm not asking what you would do, Joe, but just based on the prospect rankings here, Tate or Lemon, make the case at 2 for either one.
They're both some of the best players in the draft. They play a very important position. The Jets need a number 2 receiver. I think you can argue the Jets don't have a 2 or a 3. So adding another receiver, who could make the rookies or, a rookie quarterback's, life easier would be impactful to the team. And I see people are like, oh, you can't take these guys up top because we don't have a quarterback. It's like, okay, so do we not take a DN because we don't have a quarterback and we can't win games. Like at what point? It's just kind of stupid. So for me, I would take Tate over Lemon just because of the size and things like that. But it's a premium position. They don't have a receiver 2. They don't have a receiver 3. I think they are the second and third most like valuable players in this draft. So I would be completely fine with taking Tate or Lemon. Again, I prefer Tate over Lemon just because of the size that Tate has, and like a ridiculous 85% contested catch rate, which Lemon's really good at contested catches as well. And actually, I think the next time I'm on the show, we're going to do Lemon versus Tyson. So you'll see it. But the problem with him is like, does it translate to the NFL level because of he's 5'11", you know? So yeah, I'm completely fine with drafting one of those guys. And then like, I like the DNs at 16 more than the receivers at 16 because I'm not in love with Tyson. I'm not in love with Concepcion. Mesidor, Falk at 16. I could see it.
Ace of Spade, what do you think about the North Dakota State quarterback? Well, that quarterback I watched a little bit in person down in Mobile a few weeks ago. That is Cole Payton. I don't know if you've done any reviews on him yet, Joe.
Yeah, no, nothing on him. He's more of like a high upside guy. Like he has a really good athleticism and like characteristics, right, or traits, but not necessarily like a good processor and things like that. I've heard like so kind of Drew Lohr-y. I guess I'm putting him into that subcategory, even though transparently I would have to do a lot more research to know.
I mean, he's 6'3", 233. Dom C has him as a mid-day 3 guy. He's 23. He was at the Senior Bowl, team captain, more of a dual threat type of quarterback. Yeah. He's got the traits. Maybe he's an intriguing day 3 swing.
Yeah, what I could say in terms of just quarterbacks, and I don't know where you've been on this, but I will probably do a review at some day on the channel, but Nussmeier in the second round.
Out on it?
Absolutely not. No,
really?
I can't. I was appalled. Honestly.
From his tape this year or last year's tape?
2024. So I heard all the hype. You know, I heard the Senior Bowl stuff. I turned him on. Go watch him in 2024 against Alabama and see how horrific he was. Like it was really, really bad. I think the processing stuff is overrated. I think the athleticism stuff is overrated.
He was my day 2 guy. I'm like, they could take because I thought he looked pretty good.
I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole at 44.
Wow.
So we could do that review, but there are some plays that are highly concerning. Like I almost want to show the one where he rolls in the press. So there's one play where he's getting blitzed off the left side, gets nervous that he's getting blitzed off the left side, starts to backpedal, and then rolls directly into the pressure and gets sacked. I'm like, what are you? Like he sometimes makes the dumbest decisions I've ever seen in my entire life. So I wouldn't touch him until the 4th round. And at second round, I would honestly lose my mind. I could not do it. I'm going to pull up that play just for I'll let you know when I have it. But my God, dude.
Wow. That's interesting. Yeah, we definitely got to do a review on some of the other QB options. We'll do Simpson again too when we get a little closer. By the way, you're higher on Simpson than most. If they took him at 16, what would your reaction be?
I hate being like the Simpson defender because I've been doing it for like 3 months now. For me, I'm okay with Simpson at 16 as a prospect. I don't like the staff developing him, so it's a problem. But like, are you going to lose your mind if it's Simpson over, you know, Caden McDonald or Keldrick Falk at 16? Like you got to take some swings, you know, at quarterback. So I don't understand it. I just don't love the staff, but I've said it 1,000 times with Simpson. I think he is unfairly criticized. I think when you actually turn it on and you see it from the high angle and you can see the receivers who are stopping running routes or the lack of run game or the lack of the good positions he was put in, you'll be higher on him. Now, with that being said, if you're going to come back at me with, I don't like the starts, I don't like the size, I don't like the age, okay, hands up, you got me. But to me, if you're saying that you know people love Mendoza and they love Moore and Simpson's all the way down here and he's undraftable, I think you're on crack based on just the film this year. Now, if it's the 23 years old, 15 starts, size, injuries, okay, you got me. But the film is solid, and at the end of the year, like undraftable shit. I just did a review with him on part 3 of his season. So the last third of his season, and it was a lot of like inaccuracy instead of like baffling decisions mentally. So yeah, he hurt his back. He had an elbow injury. He was inaccurate at the end of the year. Like I'm not blown away by how bad he was at the end of the year because I don't think he was that terrible.
Ladies and gentlemen, as Joe was giving us a great breakdown there, he gifted 5 channel memberships I saw. Ladies and gentlemen, hit it.
The Jet fans getting a little crazy.
We know Joe Blewett, father of 2, fresh off a birthday, getting a little crazy in here. We got some dad advice. Our guy Nick M checking in. He's been a channel member for 20 months. You get a free super chat when you're a channel member every month with your membership. Dad advice for Joe. I have all girls. Spoil your wife. Never stop dating / flirting. Appreciate the small stuff she does. Here for girl dad questions.
Yeah, I am personally terrified of like the first time she brings in some 13-year-old Jake Asman with a fucking comb over or some shit. I'm just gonna lose my mind. So, yeah, I am terrified of the teenage years to early 20s because I know what I was thinking of girls at that age, and I don't want anybody ever thinking of my daughter like that. So, yeah, I'm terrified of those years. But you know, before that and after that, it's great. But yeah, teenage years, I'm horrified.
God bless. Big fella. Joe, your take on Denzel Boston. That is the wide receiver from, I believe, Washington, Denzel Boston.
Yeah, I did a review on him at 16. Another one I would be kind of appalled at. 33-44. I think it's a conversation. Now, I picked 5 game samples in this draft, big fella. I usually do your entire seasons. I just couldn't do, I wouldn't be able to do as many prospects. So I picked 5 games. In the 5 games I watched, I didn't see the contested catch ability that everybody speaks about. Now, maybe it's there in the other 7 games. Transparently, I did not watch those games, so I do not know. But I didn't see it with like athleticism, contested catching, route running. So I think he's more of like a second round guy, 33-44 conversation. But at 16, I would say absolutely not.
Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. Last chance to get your comment or question responded to by our guy, Joe Blewett. All right, I see you pulled up the Nussmeier film here, so I'm going to put it up on the screen whenever you're ready.
Yeah, it's just this one specific play that like it's just one of the most horrific, like legitimately one of the worst quarterback play or one of the worst plays I've seen a quarterback make almost ever. So, and there's too much of this in his film. He's terrified of pressure. He falls out of throws versus pressure. I'm not doing it. So he notices the blitz coming from the left side right here, and then I'll play it and we'll talk about it a little bit after, just so I can really emphasize how horrific this is. But watch him roll directly into the pressure that he's afraid of, and we'll talk about it a little bit. Okay, so he throws the ball away, so it's not even a sack. But so when you're dropping back, right? Like the offensive linemen and the running backs and all that, they're taught to block for your set point, right? So the running back thinks he's going to be, let's just call it the 20, right? He thinks you're going to be at the 20, so he's going to set inside a little bit. But when you start backpedaling out of the pocket, he then doesn't give his blockers the advantage of blocking for that set point. So he's afraid of this player blitzing off the edge. So he backpedals. He then rolls directly into the pressure he's afraid of, when his concepts, most of his routes are going to the right side. So if anything, you'd think that, hey, he's feeling the pressure. There's wide open grass to the right side right here. And there's also 3 receivers working that way. 1, 2, 3. He rolls out to the side he's afraid of with only 1 receiver working that way, and then almost takes the sack and throws the ball out of bounds. And it is all over the place. Like that's not going to be a good review for him, because I hammered him in the review I did, which didn't come out yet. But 44, absolutely not. Like not even consideration at 44. I could not do it. So where the 1-1 hype came from in 2024, I have zero idea. Zero.
Interesting. Very interesting. By the way, Boomtown, the master of receipts on this show. I'm worried the Saints are going to draft Nussmeier ahead of the Jets, with his father being the OC. It's intriguing. Allen Avital, fall of 2025. That, of course, the same Allen who claims he'll never call into the show anymore. That Allen. Very interesting.
Oh, I didn't know you guys had beef. I think I met him on a couple of episodes ago that I did.
Yeah, he's not a fan of mine for whatever reason. I don't know. He doesn't like accountability around here.
Did you throw him in the hole? Did you kick him out of the channel? Did you ban him?
I mean, the hole could be sponsored by Allen. I mean, he's been in it more than anyone. But yes, he's a longtime arch nemesis of the show. He loves to troll and have the contrarian take, and he actually doesn't even really root for the Jets. He loves to root for Drake May or Josh Allen. It's very odd.
Yeah, that's not allowed if you're a Jets fan.
Not great. All right, last chance for Joe. In the meantime, I'm going to check in with another caller here. He's actually the only caller that's on the line. He's got a lot to say. He was rudely interrupted by his secretary the last time we went to him. There was something about his nose being red. Ladies and gentlemen, let's find out the real deal.
I like that video. A nice little LSU there. Not a bad way to go. But if you guys get banned, congratulations.
Hey, real quick, Beast. What did you like about the video? Did you think the quarterback had a good read there, made a good throw, good decision?
Well, as long as he stays in the pocket, fires down within the first 3 seconds, he has a good shot. If he doesn't have that shot, he's SOL and JWS. Good quote from the the great George Carlin, by the way. You're
Okay.
shit out of luck and you're jolly well. That's the way the ball rolls. Remember these words. If you roll the dice, you take what you get. If you try to cheat the dealer, you're gonna get shot. That's what happens.
Woo, 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 woo.
Now, Beast Joe is now a father of 2. He just had his first daughter. Any advice you share?
Oh, congratulations, Joey. How do you feel about being a grandpa?
A grandpa. I feel terrible because I don't think I'm old enough to have grandkids.
Don't feel bad. Hey, don't feel bad. Someone once said these words to me. In 100 years, who's gonna care anyway?
I guess it's technically possible, right, Jake? Like if I had a kid at 14 and he had a kid at 14, it could happen. But I'm pushing out kids quick.
Oh, wait.
That's the situation.
Wait. Hold it. Time out. What did you having a kid at 14?
Yeah. So Beast, you said I'm a grandpa. I'm 33, so I don't know how that would be possible unless I had a kid at 14 or 15 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna let you slide on that one. I'm not gonna take any cheap shots at you. You have a good run being a grandpa, but hey, you better make it last. You better make it good and make it last.
I'll try.
You don't know how many years. We're gonna have left on this planet. So just enjoy the good time and enjoy your grandkids because you don't know what's gonna happen next. Because you don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know what's gonna happen next. Just think of it and enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Beast, how old do you think Joe Blewett is?
I think he's a nice little, a good 34-year-old man. Knows what he's doing. Yeah, sure he's a little, he's got a little there, a little crust there, but that's fine because he's his own boss. He's his own man. He's doing his own thing. I have no beef on him. Let him do his own thing. Let him enjoy himself. He's got, at least enjoy the next 50, 60 years because when we're all dead, just think of it this way. Our kids will look at us and think we're dinosaurs. Well, fine. I'll be a dinosaur. Not no ordinary dinosaur, but just my own kind of dinosaur in my own way as an old man.
It's like I gas right now.
Made some great points there, Joe.
Yeah, I don't know. Grandparents. Like, am I speaking to my kids' swimmers? Like I don't want to get too grotesque, but those are my grandkids. They're swimming around in my kid right now. So,
yeah, I'm not quite sure, but that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I saw Black Gypsy in the chat too, talking about Sherwood. Maybe we'll do some Sherwood stuff later on in the offseason. There's not much to talk about in June or July, but I have plenty of bad Sherwood tape that he's requesting. So
God. Kill me. Well, Joe, congrats on being a grandpa of 2 now. And I'll reach out to you should you win the Garrett Wilson helmet raffle that you got 5 entries in for.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I'll be back in 2 weeks and we will do some Lemon and we will do some Tyson. I know there's going to be a ton of arguments and you're an idiot and this guy sucks and whatever else, but I try to put out the evidence. So even if you disagree with me, disagree with the actual evidence, like the plays, not just, oh, he sucks, because it's not an argument. So I always encourage people to actually to engage about the actual film. So,
ladies and gentlemen, Grandpa Joe Blewett, everyone.
Yeah. I'm changing that to my header for next one. I'll see you guys next time.
Joe Blewett from Gen X. Check out Joe's film reviews with Robbie and the whole team there. They got a YouTube channel. Our guy Sham is doing some work for the Gen X people. So great outlet. I think it's the best independent jet media out there. Ladies and gentlemen, Jetstream in the house. How about a 5 spot? 5 of you just got a gifted membership from Jetstream 1989, who last week on the show won a signed Wayne Krebet helmet. Will he win another Jet wide receiver signed helmet today? From Wayne Krebet to Garrett Wilson.
And here we go. Let's go. Let's go.
The following 5 people are now channel members. 2 Bears, B77, Javier Castillo, Jay Sanchez, Aaron Gular, all receiving a channel membership there. So thank you to Jetstream. Good luck to everyone who's entered. We got the raffle coming up. Open phone lines for anyone who wants in on the Jet discussion. We got the Combine next week. I actually just got an email from the NFL that the credential was approved. So we are officially set to broadcast live from Indianapolis at the Combine next week. So I am definitely looking forward to that. I think it's a great trip every year, great interviews, and great content coming your way then. Reminder, patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. If you want bonus shows, your name in the intro. If you want to watch the Monday Night Miracle doc I was featured in on Vice TV, that's all there. So you can check it out. And Patreon members get 20% off every item in the merch store year round. Check it out. Patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. So I wanted to share this. For those who saw the first show today, while I was live with Sabo, I was getting some texts, and we even got a couple of people in the comments, the super chat, saying, Jake, they're talking about you on Bart and Carlin. Carlin's ripping you for having ex-Jet beat reporter Manish Mehta on the show. We had Manish on this past Friday. So I joined Chris, and we hashed out the argument on me having Mehta on. Was I wrong to put Manish on this show? Chris thought I was. I called in to defend myself. This was the conversation on ESPN New York around 12:30 Eastern today. You watch it and you tell me if you agree with Chris or you think it was totally fair for me to put Mehta on our show.
Carlin, ESPN New York, on the ESPN New York YouTube channel. Jake Asman's with us. I took issue with Jake this past weekend because Jake, on his YouTube channel, where he has built an incredible following and has done an amazing job with Jet fans, as I've said before, having Manish Mehta on the show. And Jake, I looked at it on Twitter, and I even think I put really Jake on Twitter about it. I saw the headline, and it said New York Jets insider or something along those lines. So I want to make sure you know that this is not an acrimonious thing, but I really just was befuddled as to why you would put somebody who was basically drummed out of the business for acting in a really non-professional way on as a Jets insider over the weekend.
Well, Chris, great to join you. You as well, Bart. Hope you're feeling better, by the way, Chris. Nice to have some real radio beef. You know, I always dreamed of being in a real radio mess. Now, first off, I appreciate it. The one thing I just want to address right out of the gate is the caption on X that I saw that you responded to was a mistake. I have a social guy that I have on a freelance basis. So all the captions, we only posted one clip, was supposed to say X Jet Beat Reporter. So if you actually go on YouTube where the interview aired, you'll see like the show is labeled X Jet Beat Reporter. So that's just one small thing. But, you know, I've seen the reaction from having Manish on, and I get it. I really do. Here's why I stand by that decision. I've always believed on my YouTube show that I should have conversations with different people who bring different viewpoints, even when those viewpoints aren't always the most popular with Jet fans. So when I brought him on, I didn't exactly give Manish a free pass. I only caught some of your comments. So I don't know if you even saw any of the conversation, but I pushed back on a lot of things that he was saying or could be viewed as biased or, you know, be viewed as something that was, you know, a personal slight to him. That's why he had the opinion he had. So I challenged him directly and gave him the opportunity to own up to any past mistakes, some of the stuff that you're referencing in those comments there. And he chose not to do it at times, and fans can judge that however they want. What he did, though, was provide insight that we don't often hear from anyone who regularly covers the team in terms of just the Jets ownership structure and some of the names he was talking about behind the scenes, like Ira Axelrod, who's worked for Woody Johnson since he's owned the team in 2000, but is not actually a Jet employee. Some information about the team president who's been there since basically 2000 as well, in Jaime Elhai. So whether people like the messenger or not, you know, the information he was saying, I thought that stuff was fascinating. And I know, you know, the feedback for the most part has been pretty positive. So I get people don't like him, and certainly I had my issues with him when he was on the beat, but I wasn't trying to like push an agenda or protect anyone. I tried to ask tough questions, and I thought we had like a fascinating conversation just on the dynamics of the Jets ownership structure. And since he's no longer covering the team and he's not on a beat anymore, he was transparent about some of the conversations he would have with sources. Back in the day, they were listed as sources. Well, now he could say he was on the phone with Adam Gase. He was on the phone with Mike McCagnon. He called Christopher Johnson up directly. And I think the audience just enjoyed hearing some of those conversations. And sure, there's things that we can nitpick with Mehta, and I certainly wouldn't even call it nitpick. I think there's things that he did that were unprofessional. Yeah. And I tried to call him out on that. And I just think over the course of the conversation, like the audience learned info, and they could kind of be the judge whether or not, you know, they deem all of it credible or not.
But Jake, my problem here is basically you have built this platform, and what you are doing by putting him on in that spot is lending him credibility. You are saying this is somebody worth talking to when they haven't been around the team in 5 years or 3 years or whatever it was, and basically were thrown out of the profession. He hasn't gotten another job because of how he handled himself. And not like there were plenty of interpersonal problems with other reporters, with people all along, but just with a professional lack of ethics, period. And I think you're almost boosting him a little bit there. It's not whether or not you push back on things that he said. I don't really care what he said. I didn't watch it. And the reason is because to me, that's a guy with no credibility when they've been drilled out to begin with. So I don't take anything he says seriously, period.
Well, I think it's a tricky spot here, right? Because I don't believe in necessarily deplatforming people either. Obviously, he's
using you in that situation, Jay.
Sure.
Let's be clear about that.
But I thought it was a fascinating conversation into like the inner workings of the organization. We didn't do a ton on the current Jets because he hasn't been around. I mean, his last year covering the team was the Gase 2020 year, so it was focused on his time on the beat.
But when he was thrown out of the industry, why would I take what he said about the organization seriously? Like, he really has nothing to lose at this point. He may as well just say whatever the hell he wants, which, listen, I wouldn't have been shocked if that's what happened at times when he was doing it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think everything he was saying was completely untrue. And if you go back and like hear some of what he was saying, like some of the stories he told were like positive stories too. Like it wasn't just like a hit job on the Jets. Like we talked about Bart's teams with Rex for part of the conversation. What covering those teams were like. It was just a different take on the Jets. And I get it. So you could push back and say, oh, he's biased. He doesn't actually know what he's talking about. But I think the audience can determine whether or not they believe, everything he's saying is true or if it's slanted from his perspective. I just thought he offered very unique insights into the ownership in particular and how the Jets have done coaching interviews in the past and GM interviews and how they handle the financial strings of certain things they want to spend money on. I think fans came away learning stuff, and it's up for people to determine if you want to believe it 100% or you don't. But I don't think there was anything that he was saying that people could hear and be like offended by any means. And he does have a podcast that talks about the current NFL, so he's still up to date on the league, but mostly we just spent the conversation talking about the past and not the current. So at no point should he have ever been listed as like a current Jet insider. It should have said on any social post, including the one you responded to, and it does on YouTube, ex-Jet beat reporter, because that was really the focus, his time on the beat and the issues the Jets have had from an ownership standpoint the last 15 years.
Did you ask him his assessment of the current state of the team at all? Since he's up on everything that's going on in the league, did you ask him about the decisions in the offseason and decisions that, from past experiences, how Woody responds and reacts to maybe Aaron Glenn's job security?
Yeah, absolutely. And he actually has a personal relationship he was talking about with Aaron Glenn. Bart, when Glenn was brought in by Mike Tannenbaum as a scout, he told a story about how he played a pickup basketball game with Mike Tannenbaum, some other members of the Jets, and Glenn was one of the people on the team that, guarded him and shut him down. And he said Aaron's a good guy, and I questioned why he took the approach he did with the media, for example. So we did talk about the current team a little bit, but the big takeaway from the conversation was just more about how the Jets keep finding themselves in this spot and what exactly is ownership's role in all that. And he's talking about how he had conversations with Chris or other people in the organization during that time, or like Adam Gase would call him, or Mike McCagnon or John Izek or Rex, and he told some Tannenbaum stories. So that was really the focus of the conversation, not basically trying to give him a platform as like a current expert on the state of affairs with the Jets, because he's not. It was just something different for the audience during a slow time before the combine next week.
Listen, I understand that part of it for sure. I understand that you're trying to entertain, and it's not an easy thing to do for a couple hours at a clip each day, which I think you do two shows a day. I don't know, Jake. It's your channel. I'm not going to tell you what to do with it. I just was disappointed that this was somebody that we were going to lend credence to after everything we know over the years.
Well, let me ask you, Chris, do you think that he doesn't have any insights into the organization? You think every story he's ever made?
No, I'm not saying he's made everything up. I just, when you hear how he handled himself going up to the GM's kid at a baseball game, stuff like that, you got to talk to people's families, and And a lot of it, Jake, just how he treated other people on the beat and the way he handled it, for him to finally, after years of being encouraged by the Daily News with the way he handled himself, for them to actually say, this is a bit much, you're gone. And nobody else even knocked on the door. Doesn't that tell us something about the guy himself?
Totally fair. But should he never be allowed to tell his side of the story? Because again, I asked him point blank about
listen,
these
it's
things.
like I said, it's your channel. You do what you want to do. But I was a little surprised by it. That's all.
He won't look. He's not going to be a regular by any means, but I thought it was a timely conversation only because I don't know if you guys talked about this on your show. The Woody Johnson report card stuff from the NFLPA not being allowed publicly, and the Jets were the only team whose owner got an F a year ago. So it was kind of playing into that. So it was mostly ownership focused, very little to do with the current team, and more about just his time covering the Jets on the beat. So, but again, Chris, I obviously understand where you're coming from, and believe me, as a fan of the team who now works in media and gives opinions on the team, I didn't always love everything Manish wrote and didn't like the ethics of some of the things he said, but he did own up to some of what he believed were mistakes that he made. And when I tried to push back on the Joe Douglas stuff that you just referenced to, he chose not to say anything about it and kind of talked around it. So all I could do was ask the question to give him a chance to respond. I felt.
Yeah, no, listen, that's fine. Listen, we can go back and forth on this. We obviously feel differently about it. Thing is, for me, Jake, is that I really respect the platform and everything that you have built, and that's why that caught me off guard. Because there are some people who, when they show you who they are, believe them. And I believe who Manish has shown us for him to be, and I felt like that cheapens your product a little bit. That's all.
Look, it's totally fair criticism. I know not everyone is going to agree with it. I was actually surprised that the feedback was more positive than negative, but that kind of comes with it when you have someone that's that polarizing. Because again, I'm the idea that I brought Manish on and said, "Oh, here's the greatest Jet reporter ever."
I never thought it was that. But personally, just when I saw the name, I'm like, I'm out. I don't need to listen to what he has to say.
Yeah.
But anyway, listen, Jake, thanks for popping on for a few minutes, bud.
No problem, Chris. I hope you feel better. And Bart, you're going to be feeling like Chris Thursday night around, I don't know, maybe 10-ish, 10 o'clock after the Knicks put some whoop ass on the Pistons. I'm just saying.
Good luck.
Be good, Jake. Thanks.
You got it, guys. Thanks for having me.
Take care. That's Jake Asman. I was thrown off by that the other day. And he admitted that not admitted, but, one of the guys put up the wrong thing. I cannot see Jets Insider. That's a tough one for one of the social team to put up by mistake.
Always blame it on the guy.
No, I believe him. And like I said, I like Jake a lot.
No, me three.
Yeah.
But listen, he has people talking his conversation, and he has people that may not know about his platform, that knows about his platform, and may want to go back and make the opinion and assessment for themselves.
Barton Carlin, ESPN New York.
Now everyone needs to go watch the interview, and you determine if it was fair or foul to have Mehta on. All right. Last chance to get in on the show. Phone lines are open. And again, Bart Scott, for those who don't know, is a Pistons fan. He's from Detroit. So anytime I do radio with Bart, we always debate Knicks Pistons. Knicks better win on Thursday after I said what I just said to him there. Last chance to get in on the show, whether it be a super chat that you want me to respond to, or you want to call in. Now is the chance. Some of these comments I can't read, but Oscar says you handled it well. Derek says, love me some Bart Scott. Let's see. You guys are brutal in the chat. Jeez. But I appreciate the support. I can't even read some of these, man. You guys are tough. Mike says I did detect some regret in the interview with Manish. Yeah, look, again, he made a comment at one point, like there was things out there that aren't true, and then people run with it, and it snowballs. And I said, well, you're talking about this stuff. Is there anything out there that you want to publicly address that say that's not true? And he gave a political answer. So, I can't force the guy to be like, hey, I did this and it was all wrong, or this is what if he doesn't want to talk about it, there's only so much you can do. Gator writes in, who watches your show before commenting on your performance more, Beast or Carlin? Well, that's the one thing. That's why I was like, if you actually watch it, like you'll see the clip that Carlin responded to on X, it said Jet Insider. It should have said X Jet Insider. So we adjusted the caption, all the other shorts, and like the original YouTube title, it says X. Obviously, Mehta hasn't covered the team since 2020, which was discussed in the interview. You know, so it's not like I was going to him being like, you know, what are you hearing about the current team? Because he's not plugged in. He's not there. But that doesn't mean he doesn't have context with people around the league. He still does a podcast about the NFL. They just had Peter King on as one of their guests. You know, Peter King went on with Manish Mehta. Peter King knows the same beat reporters that Mehta allegedly treated poorly. Let's see. Sean Horton in the raffle for one. Oh, yeah, Sean.
It's Jets, Jets. I love Fireman Ed, too.
We got this one from GMCD, another 5 spot. Let's go.
The Jet fans getting a little crazy.
$20 super chat. Give yourself a Mad Max. Good job. It was a good interview. Love Bart, but neither of them even watched before calling you out. I don't even think Bart was calling me out, to be fair. Bart and I have a pretty good relationship. I don't think Bart really cares. I think it was just Carlin doesn't like Manish Mehta, which is fine. Again, I'm not going to tell Carlin he's wrong for feeling that way. Plenty of people don't. But I do think if anyone watched that interview, you were probably learning more about the inner workings of the organization than maybe you've heard before. I don't know how many people know the name Ira Axelrod and his involvement in the financials for the Jets. Like, I thought it was a revealing conversation. Now, GMCD wants me to give him a good job.
Good job.
Can you hear me? Good job.
Good job.
Super chat from Bino. Carlin doesn't know your Shock TV. Yeah. That's what we do around here, baby.
Can you hear me?
Ladies and gentlemen, as Maniac Madness is upon us, and a member of the 4% has just qualified for the tournament. Jay Graves is next. Hello, Jay Graves.
A little birdie told me to call it and show my face, as Bobby would say.
She's qualified, folks.
Woo! I don't know if most of the people even know who I am anymore because I've been so off the grid. Actually, at the Panthers meetup game, I sent that to Genergy, and Genergy goes, "Well, they about to find out." I was like, "Yeah, I need that energy." But I think I'm like an OG now, which is weird because I've only been around for almost 2 years. But I feel like I'm an OG now.
You are. I mean, I wish there was more positives to talk about. I think that's hurt a lot of the regulars from wanting to call in. But it's you've been around, Jay Graves.
I have, and you know me. I'm never gonna call in just to to call in. I want to have decent takes and represent the 4% well. And I just haven't had nice things to say about the Jets, and I don't want to pile on, so I haven't been calling in. Because although I am a little bit like, they string you along, and not that I have hope, but I'm like, all right, like we're turning over the whole coaching situation. Maybe I can get like 0.5% excited.
Little smidge. They'll do something this offseason that will they have too many resources to not be excited about something they do.
Yeah, and then even like sorry, my brain is fried from work. The draft. Jesus, the draft. I don't even have like a dog in that fight. The last time I cared about the draft, I was banging the table for Sauce. We all see how that turned out. So like I don't even care who would take like in the top. I don't. It's so sad that I don't. I wish I cared. I just don't care. It's so awful. I've been with the team for
it's tough.
Yeah, since I was like 8 years old. I've been watching this team. Like it's just, and like we always talk about the Gase years. I honestly think I'm more checked out than the Gase years. Like. Well, we all talked about we had a Peace Squad team the last 5 weeks of the season. I couldn't tell you who's even on I couldn't tell you anybody anymore. I mean, aside from like the starting O-line, our skill positions, but I couldn't tell you who was starting in the defensive line, who we had safety. Like, we have so many holes. Like it's a mess. It's a mess. But I will say, I am down with Aaron Glenn, and like I can't be a hypocrite because I'm one of those people. One of my biggest that grinds my gears, and I say it every year, is like, oh, like the back half of the season is gonna be the easy season or easy part, and they say that in like August. We don't know that. You have no idea what team's gonna do from week to week, let alone the back half of the season. So I can't like be like, oh, Aaron Glenn's gonna suck. Statistically, probably will he suck? Yes, but I can't say that because we don't know. So
We're just
that's
hoping. That's it. You're just hoping that he's an outlier. That's all you can really do.
And I mean that's hope beyond hope, but that's what we do best is we hope.
Like as bad as it is, I guess what gives me hope, it stinks that it's come to this, is that if they could just add good players to their team this year, like regardless of the coaches after 2026, like they are in theory set up with 3-1s to address quarterback and really get the ball rolling. And if it is a new coach at that point, like I think they'd be an attractive job given the rest of the league made so many changes the last 2 years. Like they might be one of 6 openings, and I think they'd be in position to get a top candidate.
And I think so too. And in hindsight too, like if we had Byron Glenn, who the hell were we gonna get? You had 10 openings. Harbaugh wasn't coming here. Like, I mean, the only thing I'm thinking is maybe with what's his nut from Buffalo. Sorry,
Brady.
McDermott.
Oh, Sean McDermott. Yeah.
Well, like I mean, he obviously didn't get hired this cycle. When he comes to the Jets, I don't know, but we have a top. I mean, say we suck this season, we have our own pick. We're top whatever. Supposedly, what we're seeing now is probably a better quarterback class next year. I mean, but we're back to the Jets tax again. Nobody wants to come here. People are saying thanks, but no thanks. Like, I'm tired of being a joke. Like, I don't even wear my Jet stuff. Like, not that I'm not prideful, I am, but everybody's got to comment, oh, you're a Jet fan. I don't want to talk about you because you don't watch the Jets. You're just going to pile on. So I don't even wear my stuff anymore. Like, it's just, I'm tired of being a joke. I'm tired of being a joke.
Yeah, I'm with you. I guess the thing is, all it takes is just 1 year for it to click and you can turn it around. It hasn't been the case for the Jets in forever, but like the Super Bowl is the best example of that. Like a year ago, the Jets were better than the Patriots.
Oh yeah. Well, and I think that too, like this whole like firing McDermott thing. They got lucky with Allen. Their ownership's not great. That guy's a freaking moron. Like,
most of these owners are dumb. That's the thing. I learned that firsthand. Like I covered Cal McNair's Texans. They had a guy who was a character coach, who was a preacher that ascended to the levels of the organization where he was the GM and the de facto decision maker. He had no football experience. And so like these guys are not all very smart. A lot of them aren't. It's just like sometimes you got to get lucky. I use the James Dolan Knicks example a lot because no one's chanting sell the team at James Dolan anymore. He hired competent people. Like that, and that's really what it comes down to. Now you could say, can the Jets ever hire competent people with Woody? And that's fair, but Woody's first 15 years he owned the team, they had a lot of success from 2000 to 2016. There was never a year where the Jets had back-to-back losing seasons.
Good times. And that kind of gives me hope too, is like even the sun shines on the dog's ass once a day, or whatever the hell the saying is. Like, I mean, it's just, I'm so tired of being a joke. But to bring it back to the Asmaniac tournament, like I told you, like I now work. So last year I was working in the evenings. I now work 9 to 5 with kids on the autism spectrum. So I probably won't be able to represent myself. I do have some friends who are good at AI, so maybe I can get some fun AI things to send to you. And
you can send me a video if it's your day and you can't call in. I'm pulling up the bracket from last year.
I was a 5 seed last year. There's no way I'm a 5 seed. I'm barely squeaking in.
Let me see.
Last year, I was formidable.
What bracket were you in?
Oh,
let's see.
I don't even remember. I went against BMAC and then Kyle Clifton.
Oh, I see you. Yep, you destroyed BMAC in that round. Yep, and then you went up against Kyle Clifton in the second round.
Which I knew I knew that was gonna be close, and I figured I wasn't gonna win because Kyle's in every. I mean, Kyle's only gotten better from that. Like Kyle's gotta be like a real top seed now. Like he's, yeah. I mean, it was fun last year, but I haven't had good takes. I haven't called it with any takes. Like haven't done anything fun. But I will say, I show up when it counts. I am there for in-person meetings and meetups, and I flew to Tampa to watch this suck-ass team lose. Like, I am in it for the long haul. I'm in it when it counts. I might not call them all the time, but when it matters, I show up. So I will say that.
Jay Graves is an OG, folks. For anyone new to the show, that's why I'm glad you called it, Jay Graves. Hopefully, the Jets give us some positive things to be excited about on the offseason, so we hear more from you.
I hope so too. I you know how they are. They slowly they take that rope and they tie it around you and they yank you back in. I'm not holding it. It's like a Superwoman lasso. Like they get you.
You're not wrong.
Gorman, don't come after me. I don't know if I use that reference correctly. I just know Superwoman has a lasso. I don't know how it works.
I love it. Oh, this is a great call, Jay Graves. We badly miss your calls. So
I miss you all too. To the Asmaniacs, I love you all, and I will try not to be such a stranger.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great Jay Graves checking in. One of the esteemed OGs of the chat, of the community, and a proud member of the 4% female demographic that tunes into the show. If you're new to the show, we call those around here the 4%. Great call from Jay Graves. A couple super chats here. Oh, how about this from Anthony Logerato in the house? $50. And he writes in, hey, Jake, great show. Please give these to Artie, wishing him a speedy recovery. Incredible gesture. How about this? 10 raffle tickets to Artie of Peg and Artie fame. For those who missed the first show today, Artie had a mild heart attack last night, if you could believe it. He's doing okay. Got some testing done today. I was talking with Artie earlier, but scary stuff. Obviously wishing Artie the best in his recovery, but he's in good hands with Peg. And Anthony wants to make sure Artie's got a legit chance to win a signed Garrett Wilson helmet at the end of the show. This right here, Anthony, is for you. The best community in sports. Anthony, amazing gesture. Thanks so much. We'll make sure Artie gets those memberships or those raffle tickets, excuse me. Carlos says, I stand by your interview with Manish, and I agree that we should not attempt to deplatform someone. Let the listeners be the judge. For sure. And there were times, too, when, he talked about, under Woody and Chris, they will never be able to get a top coach. And I said, well, that's not really true. Robert Saleh was the top coach of the cycle the year the Jets hired him. So was Todd Bowles. Glenn wasn't the top guy, but I don't think he was like, an afterthought. The Saints were interested. Again, that's to me not been the Jets' problem. It's been they've hired the wrong people, but at the time they've hired some of these people, there was reasons for optimism. Mace B says, Brees touchdown throw, #1 season highlight for me. I mean, that was the most exciting win. It just sucks it happened when they were 0-7. I mean, the most exciting play of the season was the Will McDonald blocked punt or blocked field goal. I was at the game in Tampa. He returned it the other way. Short-lived. I think everyone there knew the defense was immediately going to blow it. But in that moment, that was euphoric. That to me was the highlight of the season, if there is such a thing when you're 3-14 and you start at 0-7. All right, home stretch. Get to your last couple calls here. Then we'll do the raffle for the Garrett Wilson helmet. Ladies and gentlemen, the big fellas up next.
When he's home, his bell is on the bed. That's what feels good. On the road, his bell is on the bed. In a dirty hotel room. He calls the show, his bell is on the bed. He's just more comfortable. He got a beard, loves the Jets, super chats. Where's a big fella, sleeps alone. There's no room on his bed. Where's a big fella?
Hey, man.
Hello, big fella.
I figured I would call. I wanted to talk to the radicalizer, because, oh, God. What is Chris Carlin talking about, bro? Honestly, he said he didn't even watch. How can you judge something that you didn't even watch? Like, what is that? It's like, oh, I saw Manish on that. He was listed on your show and stuff like that. He was going to be a guest.
He saw a clip of it. He saw like a 60-second short of like an edited clip that we've been posting all season.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, seriously, you're going to, first of all, and what pissed me off about him was like, I'm not going to tell you what you should do on your platform, but he's exactly telling you what to do on your freaking platform. That's ridiculous. And him saying he actually gave you something where he was like, I guess I'm just disappointed or something. That was like the feeling. It's like, who the fuck are you, bro? Honestly, you don't watch. You're a Giant fan, a Giant shill actually, and you don't you don't know what goes on here. You made a great platform. You do your thing. Who gives a shit what Chris Carlin thinks? Honestly, it makes no sense to me. You don't watch something and then you're going to criticize, and then you're going to criticize actually something, that someone that you didn't even see. It's stupid. It's stupid. I'm not a fan of that type of behavior. Let's just say.
Well, I appreciate the support always, big fella.
Yeah, no, always. But it's like, you have to be when you're going to say something, at least know what you're talking about before you say something. That's all. And keep doing what you're doing. Chris Carlin, there's a reason why you got kicked out of the fan, homeboy. Shut up.
Oh, that's not fair. But come on.
I know. I'm just. I'm done. I don't know. Let's just say I'm a little disappointed in Chris Carlin. Let's just say that.
I can't tell you how to feel. I can't tell you how you should feel.
Exactly. This is my platform. So don't tell me how to feel. Just everybody needs to be objective. Watch. If you don't like it, you don't like it. If you do, you do, and go from there. The only good thing that came out of it was that I'm sure you probably got some new subscribers to your channel because of it being broadcast over the air.
Again, it can't hurt, right? All press is good press within reason. I don't think Epstein had some good press right now. But
yeah. let's not go there, man.
I don't think OJ got great press either, but
but you do a good job. You do a really good job, and we're all grateful for the platform. So keep up the good work, Chris Carlin. Shut up, and that's all I got.
Big fella, you're the man, a legend. The big fella, one of the all-time greats. Again, like when Manish was on the beat, I didn't enjoy a lot of what he did. Because I thought some of his stuff went too far or was unethical, or I heard some stuff behind the scenes. But when we did the interview the other day, and he says during the conversation, I have like the worst headset hair right now, and he says during the conversation that he never did anything unethical, and it's like what am I supposed to say to that? Like, you could follow up and say, well, this is about you. Is there anything you want to dispute? And he wouldn't want to get into specifics. There's only so much you could do, and people could take his information with a grain of salt if you want, or say he's biased, but I don't think everything he's ever reported has been untrue. Like, I know for a fact that Gase conversation he talked about is 100% believable, because I've had Rich Cimini on this very show. He said Gase would call him after games. Gase loved to try and curry favor with the media. Loved to. Connor Hughes has openly talked about on his podcast how Gase on Fridays would show the beat reporters film and go over stuff, and he even did it over Zoom during the COVID year, even though Gase knew he was going to be fired anyway. Like, the idea that Manish wasn't talking to these people or everything he's saying is untrue, I'm not buying that. And the Ira Axelrod, the guy who runs all the money for the Jets, who's not a Jet employee, but is like Woody's personal finance guy, that guy was mentioned by name in the Athletic story that dropped last year by Diana Rossini when Ira Axelrod, Woody, Chris, they met with Saleh after the Denver debacle last year and talked about benching Rodgers. Remember that part of the article? So there was a lot of stuff in there. So people could take what they want from it, but I found it to be a fascinating convo. And when Manish says there's things out there about what happened with me that aren't true, and I say, well, you're talking about that, is anything you want to clarify on the record right now, and he doesn't want to address it, there's only so much you could do. Nick M says, we are OGs. I've been a subscriber since Jake was at 7,000 to 8,000 followers. Well, I appreciate that. More of your calls right now. Ladies and gentlemen, this man, I believe, is on vacation, and he's still finding a way to call in.
He's inside. He's
The internet is not great.
Kyle Clifton on the road, folks, yet he's still outside MetLife, and now he's not. Famous last words from Kyle. The internet is not great. Put that on the tombstone, folks. The internet is not great.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's return back to our briefly scheduled programming. Take it away, Jake Asman. Take it away.
More calls right now. Philly Noodles is next. Hey, Philly.
I swear to God, you almost put me on after some beast fart or some shit.
This time was intentional because I saw you on the line, and Johnny boy, I hope you don't mind. I put Philly ahead of you. I skipped ahead.
It's every time. It's like if he's the cleanup hitter, I'm like the guy right after on the fifth spot.
You can handle the pressure.
Yeah, that's fine. I just need a ribby. Just let me get a double up the middle. We'll be all right. That's funny. I was gonna say, first off, Kyle Clifton's a legend. Even with those few words, he summed up our season as well. Bad internet, bad season, 2 shots. I gotta love it. First off, we gotta remember one thing. Woody Johnson is the 32nd best NFL owner in the league, and he's not there for winning because it's not his best suit. You know, in terms of winning, I'm not a good owner. Just always remember that, everybody. From the words of his mouth. No, I was calling to see, what do you think about a situation where they maybe do grab a veteran and then they take a shot at Anthony Richardson? Maybe like a cheap deal.
Yeah, we talked about him earlier. I don't hate the idea of adding Richardson. He cannot be the number one guy going. You got to have like Cousins and Richardson. You need 2 vets. Richardson could be one of them as the backup with the upside, and then I would still draft someone. He can't be like, we're building our team around. He's worse than Fields.
Yeah. I mean, and granted, with the injuries, I mean, they're so weird, his injuries. So maybe there's some type of, situation where, they evaluate it. They're like, all right, he's all right. Because I would say Carr is a bigger risk than Anthony Richardson with injury, just injury, not skill level injury. So to me, it's like, yeah, Kirk Cousins is the best option. I still think Mariota might be a really good option still, no matter which way we put it and slice it. I don't think I said this in someone else's show. I don't think that Brissett's going to be an option. I don't think LaFleur is going to play nice unless we're giving them something, way too valuable, like a 3rd round pick or some crap, which is not going to happen. So I think he's out of the question. I really hope the Kyler Murray stuff is not like legit, especially because you played it earlier, or someone else played it, where Glenn had that interview where he was on with Ryan Clark.
Yeah, a couple years ago.
That's terrible, bro.
I don't buy the Kyler Murray stuff. I don't.
Yeah, I hope not. Yeah,
Kyler Murray in a trade for his current contract is a non-starter. Kyler Murray released, and you can get him for nothing with someone else behind him. I'll listen to it because, again, beggars can't be choosers here. All the options have issues. That's why they're available in the first place.
Yeah, and man, we were calling for Brees being traded. I know me and what's his name were a big component of it. Me and our favorite, everybody loves to hate, Allen. We kept pushing that. A lot of us pushed that narrative. It should have took place. I mean,
they should have. If they lose him for nothing, if they don't tag him, then it was a mistake. And I said it at the day of the deadline. It's like, if you don't trade Brees, then he better be on the team next year. And I think they're going to put the tag on him personally. I don't think they're going to let him walk for nothing.
I think you tag. Yeah, if they can at least, I mean, if they could, tag and trade him. I mean, they might be able to get a 3rd, just putting a little pressure. I mean, it's not much pressure. He just won't play. Like, he'll just not play the season. He'll pull a Le'Veon Bell, which would be the worst option that occurs if he's not traded. But I think they might take a 4th and like a 6th, just because now the price has gone down. There's no way you're telling me. It's like I'm in a used car market. There's no way you're telling me. You had it at that price, and I come back next week and you still haven't sold it, bro. I'm going down. I'm not going up on that price. I'm starting to go down. I'm giving you less money, but take even longer. Go ahead, take longer, please. Cheapen it up. So, yeah, man. That's all I got to say.
Philly, great call. Appreciate you. All right, from Philly Noodles to a public service announcement. Last chance to get in the raffle for the signed Garrett Wilson helmet. With that, we go to Johnny Boy now. Hello, Johnny.
Yo, what up, Jake? What's going on, man?
Living the dream, Mr. Worldwide.
You know it. Hey, so I caught the beef between you and Carlin, if that's what we're trying to call it, because I mean you had my man on the ropes. He had no type of counter punch on you at all, to the point where he had to leave you alone with Bart so you guys could have a full conversation. But I wanted to ask you, yo, did he say anything about the fact that Mehta went on to on Joe B's?
No, he did not. He did not. I don't know if Carlin knows that Mehta did Beningo's podcast as well.
So that's what I'm saying. So like he just was picking and choosing, and then you're pretty much were telling him like, yo, did you watch the whole thing? And then I really like when Bart asked you, like, yo, did you guys talk about anything with the current roster and what's going on? And you were like, nah, if you watch it, we really didn't.
And we did a little, right? But it was more of like his perspective from knowing Glenn when he was a scout. He told that basketball story. We talked about Glenn's approach with the media. You know, I gave the scenario of Glenn's gone. He thinks Muji would be here no matter what. And I thought that was interesting. Just the dynamics of like, would he want to pay? How many coaches and GMs? Like, so we talked about it in terms of that, or like what happens if they win too many games and they can't get the quarter. But like, we didn't go into specifics about the season because he hasn't covered the team regularly in 5 years. So we focused on the big picture stuff and then the stuff that he did cover previously.
Yeah, I mean, and the fact that he does have a relationship with Aaron Glenn, too, just, I mean, spoke a lot of volumes, to be honest with you, man. So, hey, I just want to let you know you held your own, bro. You went up in there, guns a-blazing. I mean, you know, as professional as you could have done it, right? And Carlin just, he couldn't handle it, man. Like we went on from what? I think they were talking about, like, what's the worst stuff you could do at a stadium? Go streaking or, you know, shake somebody's hand after they use the bathroom. to that, I thought it was pretty funny, man. So, hey, I called in, man, to tell you kudos on that. But when do you think they tag Brees, man? Like, are we still on the tag watch?
Yeah, so let's see what the actual date is. So the window opens today to tag players. So the Jets could do it today if they wanted to. It opens today and it runs through March 3rd at 4 p.m. So the Jets aren't going to, I don't think, do it anytime this week, maybe not even next week. Like, they got time. Like, I'm sure Muji will be asked about it, or Glenn will be asked about it for sure when they speak to the media next week. That'll be one of the questions.
And there's two types of tags, right? I believe so, that they might tag them with. But I wanted to ask you, let's just say next year, can they re-tag them again?
You could tag them again. Yep. It's more money if you play on the tag back-to-back years.
Oof, that'll be wild, man. I mean, who would you take if, in case we do let him go? Like, if it is, and he's gone, like, which free agent that's out there that you would want to take to maybe replace him, or do you do it in the draft? Because I feel like it's only Love and Price for running backs that are in the draft right now that, you know, are mentioned at all. But then
I wouldn't do it in the draft because, like, I don't think it's a great running back draft. I don't want to do it with any of my early picks. Like, maybe they take a day 3 running back like they've done in the past. Like, Douglas basically took one almost every year. I mean, free agent wise, I mean, I think Brees is the best free agent running back if the Jets don't bring him back. Kenneth Walker will be a free agent. It doesn't sound like Seattle will use the tag on him. Travis Etienne, Javonte Williams, Rico Dowell, J.K. Dobbins, Tyler Algier, Kenneth Gainwell. I mean, Najee Harris.
The Algier one is kind of like one of those maybe. I mean, and do you think that they end up, you know, boosting up Braylon for that RB1? But I don't know. I mean, with that injury that he's coming off of, you know, he seems like he's the type of running back that maybe Aaron Glenn likes. I don't know. There's a lot of unknown. I keep saying it until free agency and ends, and then we know with the draft, I think we'll see how they're going to shape this actual team itself. But I think right now it's just fun to try to play around with all of these different types of players that you could get and kind of go from there, you know. So, but he has to win, man. Like, he has to win. He has to show. And I think for me, man, the floor for next year, like, I know a lot of people are like, 7 or 8 games. Dude, it has to be a winning season, man. You want this entire fan base to be behind you. Give us a winning season. And I think it all, you know what I'm saying, like, gets put back in the rear view mirror at that point, right? So, but that's me.
If they go
that's
9
me
and
being-
8. Yeah, Glenn's gonna get Coach of the Year votes if they finish 9 and 8.
It'd be nuts, man. But hey, Jake, keep doing your thing, man. And look, you had Carlin on the ropes, dog. You didn't know, man. You hit him with that 1-2, and then you hit him with that 3 for the knockout. So it was good, man. Jake, appreciate you, brother.
Johnny, thanks for the kind words, man. Appreciate your support. All right. Kyle Clifton, he tried the call. The internet was acting up. But like the legend he is, he sends in a super chat. He's in the raffle for 2 with this. Just because I'm somewhere in a swamp without 5G doesn't mean I stop supporting the show. No car, 3/4, ? Fire Aaron Glenn in honor of my new favorite Asmaniac. Fire Aaron Glenn. Kyle, you're nuts.
Give us something, anything. Yeah. We're a squirrel trying to get a nut.
Nuts, I say. Beast, you're nuts too.
Nuts? What kind of nuts? You know what?
D's
Are we
nuts.
ready? No thanks. Pass. I'll
Get your heads out of your asses.
Beast, we're coming to you with the raffle shortly. Our last caller. And shout out to J Grape. She started the movement. All these people started calling in after J Grape set the tone. That's why we need the 4%ers. Paul Faz, close this out, my man. What's up, Paul?
What's going on, brother?
How we doing?
Cool. I'm in Baltimore. I've been traveling a lot, so I haven't been able to jump on, but I've been catching your shows while I'm in the car for 3 hours. So thank you very much.
I appreciate it, Paul. I'm glad to know you're still tuned in.
Yeah, always there, just not on when you're on. But I love the Barton Hahn, not Hahn, but yeah, it was good. It was good. Some people just like to nitpick stuff because they need clicks as well. I wouldn't get too sweat over it. No, I wouldn't worry too much over it. But none of us knew. But now it does explain some of the dysfunction with the Jets, right? Because to me that's just asinine. We're probably one of the only teams that actually run our business that way, and it really makes you realize that it's a problem. And I'm glad that you had that interview. And I get he's not a credible source for some things, but he is definitely not full of shit on all of it. So. Don't sweat. Don't sweat. Keep being you, like we talked about when I saw you at the bar. And appreciate the show. And I just want to still leave it with the whole quarterback thing. This is just it's. Can we just not make the same mistake we've been? I don't care. I don't care. Take Ty Simpson at 16 and then draft another quarterback next year. And give me somebody young this year. That's the only reason I want Kirk Cousins is I want him because I believe he is still a little above average on the quarterback end. I know he has a world of knowledge. I know he's a great locker room guy. And injuries, he wasn't injury prone. He tore his ACL, but he wasn't injury prone before that. Some of these other quarterbacks are injury prone. Derek Carr, give me a break. Why are we going to go that route is, to me, completely asinine and a waste of our time again. Just give me Kirk Cousins, put 2 young kids behind him underneath, and run with it. And that's all I got, man. Love the show. And talk soon, dude.
Paul, you're the man. Good luck with the business trip.
Thanks.
Paul Fast checking in. One of the great pipes of any of our callers. See the Mo Green reference in the chat. Gary writes in, if you don't vote for Paul in Asmaniac Madness, you may end up in a trunk. Yikes. Sonny says, Faz looks like Gorman's older brother. That Charles Gorman, man. What a legend. We haven't heard from 3D Gary since Gorman knocked him out on the show the other day. How about this from Shane Nitro in my veins? What up, Shane? Thanks for the super chat. We're going to see at the Columbine. I believe you mean the Combine. I know that when you send the super chats, the text on the super chat sometimes is funny. I've had the same issue. Honestly, I will not actually see any of the drills because I fly in Monday. I leave Friday. I never, I made it over to Lucas Oil for one of the days. I think it was 2 years ago. When I'm down there, I'm just there to do the show, go to the press conferences for Glenn, Muji, and talk to some of the prospects, like go to their pressers. But I'm not actually going to be watching the drills. I'll just watch it on TV. There's nothing I could gain from seeing it in person. And I'm out. Like they do it through the weekend. I'm mainly down there just for the media stuff. Come away with juicy rumors I could share on the show. Talk to different people around the league. Hear from Glenn, hear from Muji. And talk to some of the prospects. And plus, you guys will get great content. Like we had Rich Eisen on the show at the Combine 2 years ago. Last year, we had Ian Rappaport on the show. I'd imagine we'll get Connor Hughes on. We'll get Samini on. Costello already told me at the Super Bowl when we had him on, we'll do it at the Combine. So we'll get all the Jet people on. I doubt we'll get Aaron Glenn on, but that'd be something, huh? That'd be a fascinating interview. First thing I say to Aaron Glenn, don't let go of the rope.
Just don't let go of the rope.
Don't let go, baby. Don't let go. Let's see. Did I miss any super chats? I think we were all caught up. You know what that means? It's time for the Asmaniac Raffle, where today we're going to give away a signed helmet by number 5 on your New York Jets, the Garrett Wilson. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to bring on our master of raffle ceremony.
Let's go, Jets! Let's go, Jets! Let's go, Jets! Let's go, Jets!
Yo, 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 what's happening there, G Dog Jakey? What's flying?
Yo, 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 Beast Dog.
So what's flying?
What's
You're
flying?
flying out, I take it you're flying out Friday?
What's happening?
Yeah, you flying Friday?
Yeah, I'm gonna go like this with my arms and just fly.
Oh no. I heard you'd be flying out to Indy.
Yeah, that's on Monday though.
Okay, I see. Well, as they all say, it's time for the 2026 Wheel of Champions. Party time, boys. Wheel of Champions. Champions.
It's time to announce the winners of the weekly Asmaniac Raffle. Let's spin the Jake Asman Show Wheel of Champions and find out which Asmaniac is winning an epic prize.
Spectacular. That was epic. Beastbreaker. Setting us to this raffle in style. Hey, good luck to everyone. These entries combine both our shows today. Great to see a great raffle turnout. Great prize. Signed Garrett Wilson helmet. Ladies and gentlemen, only one can win, though. If you win, email me, asmanjake@gmail.com, your name and address so we know where to send your prize to. If you don't win, well, you might win on Friday. Our weekly raffle series features 4 Jet-related signed items. Quarterback theme is our raffle this week, including a signed name with jersey. Ladies and gentlemen, one spin to rule them all. The winner is how about this? Peg and Artie. Let's go. A little pick-me-up for our guy Artie. Big thank you to every listener who paid forward their big memberships towards Peg and Artie. This is what it's all about. We love it. Let's go.
The Jet fans getting a little crazy.
Oh, yeah. The Jet fans getting a little crazy. Hell yeah. Peg and Artie, you're winners of the Asmaniac Raffle. Things you just love to see. Congrats to Peg and Artie on their prize. Hit a Jet chant for them, Ed. Love that. Congrats to Artie. This will look good in the Peg and Artie household of champions. All right. That's going to do it for today's show. You guys are the best. Thanks to our guy, Joe Blewett, for joining. He had a great film breakdown on David Bailey and Ruben Bane. So if you're a film junkie, highly recommend you go and watch that. Again, thank you all for watching. My name is Jake Asman. We're back tomorrow morning, bright and early. Be ready to roll. Things are happening. Nick Shine is on the program, so we'll check in with Nick. A lot going on with the Jets as usual, and we'll be back tomorrow to talk about all of it. Until then, I leave you all with an all-time classic, December of 2024. Sit back and enjoy the show. Go Jets.
Listen, pig mouth, shut up. Keep your mouth shut. Number one, when you call people old, this is what you get.
You don't scare me. You don't scare me. You don't scare me, Dave. You're always going to see this face. All right? I'm always going to be right in the Jake. No matter who's the Jet quarterback, I'm always going to be here. You know what I mean?
Listen, buddy.
Like trying to run me out of the show.
You're
I'm
an
not
idiot.
going
You don't know
nowhere.
anything about football. You never did. Mr. Zero. Mr. Zero. There he is.
I'm
In the
serious.
flesh. Mr. Zero. That's you. You bad Wi-Fi. Take that hat off. Put that Jets hat on. Let's see it. Come on. Get that cap off. Go to work. Are you work? You know how to work?
Twice in the afternoon, baby. Who wants to ask me a question in the chat?
It's all I need. One punch. One punch. One punch. One punch. One knocker. One punch. I bet you
Give
know
me some time by myself.
One punch.
Wow.
One punch.
Dave Brigger bringing some passion. Thank you, Dave.
Hey, here's the deal. Just got no chance unless you click on that like button. And you got to make sure you subscribe to the Jake Asman Show. You don't, you can get the f*** out. Now let's go, Asmaniacs. We're built for this shit.